Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Toby. Welcome to the podcast. If you're a new listener, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to give a big shout out to my day ones for the past 6 years, my subscribers, my listeners. I appreciate people who talk about this podcast, who share this podcast, who support this podcast, who write reviews for this podcast. Really, really appreciate all your support. I've been doing this for 6 years. I've been giving it away for free. So many people ask me why I don't film it, why I don't monetize on YouTube, why don't I charge people for it on Patreon? And their answer is because I don't want to. I love these conversations in my kitchen. I love the honesty. I love that people want to come back for 2 or 3 episodes, the reoccurring guests that I have all the time. I love it. No lights, no cameras. I myself do not like going on podcasts that are being filmed and have lights. I've done it a couple times. I'll probably never do it again. I don't feel like myself in those situations. So I want all my guests to be as comfortable as possible. I do have sponsors. The sponsors keep my shit going. They keep it alive. But I will never interrupt a conversation with an ad in the middle of it. People do that all the time, and I will never interrupt the flow of a conversation. So don't worry about that. But I do have amazing sponsors who I align myself with, who the products that I use on a daily basis. I've turned down so much money for sponsors that want to be part of this podcast with companies I've never tried or didn't align with. I'm very picky about who I have on my sponsors and have on this podcast. That being said, check out the sponsors. Joe, cue up the music. Since 1987, Rockabilia has been around doing officially licensed merch. No bootlegs from all the artists that I freaking love, from pop to hip hop to rock to hardcore to punk. Over 500,000 items on this website, independently owned, operated in the USA. Custom limited collabs drop every month exclusively on this website from visual artists and tattoo artists. We have so many bands that I love and artists that I love, from Gaga to Blink, Katy Perry, Bad Brains, Beastie Boys, De La, Tribe Called Quest, 50 Cent, Billy, Deftones, Dead Kennedys, DMX, Dr. Dre, Eric B. and Rakim, Goo Goo Dolls, Hall & Oates, Wu-Tang, U2, Snoop, TSO, and Paramore. Those is to name a few of all my favorite bands that are on this website. I've owned t-shirts from all those artists throughout my life. Now I know to go here only. All officially licensed merchandise. Check out Rockabilia Instagram. Also go to rockabilia.com and use my code OLLC10 and get 10% off. That's rockabilia.com. Use my code OLLC10 and get 10% off your purchases. Thank you to Rockabilia for being our new sponsor. Welcome to OLLC fam. As we get older, we start paying attention to what we put in our bodies. I personally have been listening to my body since I was 18 when I went vegan. I've always been focused on my health. It's super important, mental and physical health. But it's really important for people who are just starting to get more healthy and trying to step up their life. Doing your homework, reading the labels, researching and verifying everything that's quality. It's part of the game these days. That's why I started drinking AG1s. I'm so proud to have them as a sponsor of my podcast. AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that delivers daily nutrients and gut support and is backed by multiple research studies so you can trust what you're putting into your body. We're all so busy these days, so just store a pack of AG1 in the morning into a cup of water and shake it up and drink it. I love the way it tastes. I do it every single morning. It's part of my routine. I bring the packets on tour. It's an incredible life changer for me. Many supplements only reference research from ingredients in their product, but I trust AG1 in my daily routine because it's constantly putting the formula to the test. It's backed by multiple research studies. And one of those research studies, AG1 was shown to have double the amount of healthy bacteria in the gut, which is super important because these help digestion in the immune system and the immune health. And these bacteria are known to help with digestion as well, gas and bloating, which I freaking need. And it also promotes regular bowel movements, what I can attest to. In another research study, 97% participants felt more energy after 30 days, and 91% of the participants noticed that they needed less coffee after 60 days. I quit coffee like 5 months ago. I know I'm good on that. But AG1 is packed with a variety of nutrient-dense ingredients and is the perfect complement to my healthy diet. I drink it because I know it's going to work, and it gives me a peace of mind covering all my nutrition bases for the day. In fact, I trust it so much, that's why I'm spreading the word about it. That's why it sponsors my podcast. Thanks to Angie Huberman for turning me on to AG1s, connecting me with them, and now they're part of my podcast. It's so easy and satisfying to start your day with AG1s. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of the vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your purchase at drinkag1.com/OLLC. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. It's never been a better time to focus on your health and wellness and get back on track, man. Take control of your daily health. Health is wealth. All right, let's do it. Okay, welcome to the One Life, One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. Today I have a very, very special guest in my kitchen. Miss Patty Jenkins.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here.
So happy to be here.
I ran into you at the Agnostic Front show maybe like close to a year ago, maybe I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I haven't seen you many, many years, and been following you, everything going on in your life for the many, many years since being part of the hardcore scene and everything you've done. And so thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was so fun to run into each other after so long.
I know. And that was at Murphy's Law too. Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
I think Brooke Smith was there too.
Yep. Brooke was there.
But it's nice when you start doing a deep dive with people too, and you find out their whole story. We was talking before the podcast, so we kind of like probably in DC around the same time. Kansas City's, Lawrence, Kansas, all that stuff, the different shows and coming up and going to shows. And it's an interesting world, man, how we're all connected through that, you know?
Yeah. I love the scene and how specific it is now. Mm-hmm. Like, it's almost like because I moved around the world when I was young, I've always felt like I wasn't from anything. And it made it hard, and it was what made New York so great. I was like, finally, I'm not the outsider. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. But I will say the one thing I am from is the scene. And so it is like my one tribe that you'll meet people and they'll be like dating punk bands way after you, or like, oh, Green Day. And you're like, quite, no diss to them, but I'm talking about a slightly different scene. So when you meet somebody and you're talking all the same bands, you're like, oh wow, we were really there at the same time. We had the same experience, like at the birth of the hardcore scene, which was different than punk, which was different than kind of the next step of the hardcore scene. I don't even think you'd call Green Day hardcore scene. That's a different thing.
But it's still punk in somebody else's eyes.
It's a new punk.
For us, it's like we saw other things, Ramones, all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? I didn't realize either you were born in Victorville, California.
Yeah, I was only there. It's misleading because I was only there for 4 months, because my dad was a fighter pilot.
Yeah.
And so I was at George Air Force Base, and then he immediately got transferred to the Vietnam War. And my mom, being the young rebel that she was, and who had also grown up overseas in the military families, she decided to take us with her and go to Thailand. So we were in Thailand during the Vietnam War. So we were immediately gone and over there.
And you were like, how old are you then?
3 months to 3 years.
That's crazy, man. And your father, rest in peace, had like a Silver Star in Vietnam as well.
Yep.
And so he passed when you were 7.
Yeah.
And my father passed. I was looking how young your dad was going to pass. My dad died when he was like, I think your dad was like 31. Mine was like 33 or something.
Wow.
Super rare heart condition. Yeah.
It's funny how, and I'm sure you've reflected upon it a lot, it's funny how much that had to do with my involvement in the scene in great ways, right?
Absolutely.
Because I feel, it's funny, it's not funny, but one of my son's best friend's fathers just passed away. And I've tried to be there for him and say, you're now going to have seen behind a curtain that your people around you haven't seen, and it's very confusing. Mm-hmm. Because I remember being 7 and they're just like, he's gone. The thing you want the most for the rest of your life, they're gone. You'll never see them again. And then they're like, go team. What do you want to do? I'm like, what? What?
Yeah.
Excuse me, what? Like, wait a minute, what? So you're telling me that nothing is stable and anything, the most important thing to me in the world could be ripped away at a moment's notice. Go team.
Yeah.
And I felt like the hardcore scene, what was so cool about it was that everybody was there for a different reason and you didn't know what it was. And only in retrospect do I look back at how very fucked up and damaged some of my friends were. And they were the wildest, funnest ones, but you were like, oh, they were going to die. They were going to kill themselves. Like, but we all had something that made us not able to say go team.
Yeah, it's so true. And something you mentioned too, I remember when my dad passed, like we kept asking my mom for like a year or two, when's dad coming? We didn't realize, we didn't understand death. We didn't get to go to the funeral.
How old were you?
I was 3.
Oof.
And I have 2 older brothers. So we didn't get to go to the funeral or have any kind of closure because my mom was protecting us. But at the same time, we kept asking, when's daddy coming? We didn't understand it. And that must have been so hard for my mom. Like, we kept asking about it, you know?
Yeah.
And having not that closure.
Yeah, me neither, because my dad crashed into the ocean and the end. Wow. Like, there was no service, no nothing.
Wow.
So I just got told he was dead and no one ever talked about it again. Like, because that's what they thought you should do back in that day and age. They were like, she'll forget him. And you're just left with this, it's honestly why I'm an artist now, is because the well of emotion that I didn't know what to do with and express, I was looking for an outlet for.
Yeah.
And I ended up finding it in story. And Monster ended up being my outlet for my father's death.
It's amazing. I feel like I could agree with that as far as being a musician, when everything I do is probably from that too, like having that emotion, right? That void, kind of not having a father figure and stuff, and then finding it, like looking up to like Ian MacKaye or Kevin Seconds or these artists, these other musicians, you know what I mean? Like, and that's where the punk came in. Because not that every single person that gets into punk is from a broken home, but the percentage of it seems pretty high.
It's it's not it's to me it's not from it's always something right?
Yeah.
So when the scene first started in Lawrence, Kansas, where I was at the time, I had ended up in Lawrence, Kansas, and it ended up being an amazing scene.
Yeah.
But when it was first starting around 83, 84, it was all the kind of outsiders, but it was also like the Hindu kid and we couldn't, it was like the outsiders. Yeah. And so it really was everybody who didn't quite have a click, and it was so fascinating. And then it was years later that I realized, like, oh, I had no idea that friend's parents were beating him nearly to death. Yeah. And that's why he's jumping off trains and ended up dying so young. And you're like, oh, now I realize that we were all coming from such different things, and nobody knew what the other person's thing was.
I mean, even now, hearing like some of the people that you're friends with that I know they're legends, are writing books and telling stories and doing documentaries telling about their childhood, and even just seeing some of the interviews that Harley's been doing about, people think it's so cool. He was from the streets, but in actuality, he was like 9 or 10 years old, but he put in these situations. It really weren't safe for a kid. It may look punk rock to us on the outside, but for him, it's like he didn't really have a childhood. So seeing him talk about that now, it's like, okay, I get it. I get the angst. I get the lyrics. I get the, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty incredible. And also there was kind of a, particularly as the years went on, when I was young, I don't think I was as aware, but as the years went on, it was almost like the more fucked up your childhood had been, the better. But we were too young to understand. I mean, because John Joseph was already like doing so great, like even in the late 80s. Yeah. He was already doing so great. But it took me, he's a good friend, and up till now really being like, wait, you're sleeping in Coney Island under the boardwalk with your brothers because you'd been being fed like throwaway garbage at a foster care person. Like, it was so fucked up. It's so miraculous what certain people have made it through.
And then learning about that later on in life too, they're not really telling you so much back then because you guys are kind of kids hanging out, going to the shows and being in this moment. Nobody's saying like, yo, I had this, talking about childhood, opening up about things. Yep. It's wild.
Yeah, really interesting.
So obviously you were born there, then you moved all around. So you end up in Kansas, correct? Yeah,
Kansas.
How old are you then when you get there?
I think I'm there all through elementary school, so I'm 5, I think, and then so we end up there all the way through end of junior high into going into high school, and that was when and we left a number of times, like, and I went to New York for 6 months, and we went to England for a bit, but it was like, so we'd always kept kind of moving around. So I loved my upbringing in Lawrence, but I wasn't from Kansas. Yeah. And it's interesting, as young as I was when I moved there were really people there who were from Kansas, multi-generations, their grandparents are there or whatever. And so that was where, in about junior high, trying to process everything. First of all, I started doing mushrooms pretty young. Okay. And so I think that in my case was a good thing. It sort of broke open like there's a lot more to the world than this popularity contest that like, which I was perplexed by. Yeah. But then the scene started. And so it was like, for me, it was like, oh, great. Somewhere we can let loose. Because also being a teenage girl, it's like, it's all about having the same hairstyle and looking the same way. And so for me to be 13, my sister was in the scene. And so I was 12, 13 when I started being aware of it, and then got much more into it around 13, 14. For me, it was incredibly freeing just to be like, oh my God. Like, I remember I went on a moment's notice from having like the bob curled hair to having like a mohawk. I was like, this is the best thing that ever happened to me, It felt so good cutting those haircuts or shaving your head. So fun. It was so freeing too. Yeah. But you're a middle child then, right? You have 2 sisters? No, I do. I have 2 sisters. One, my younger sister and I did not grow up together. She had the same father. Okay. And my older sister and I have the same mother. Okay. And so I grew up as if I had an older sister, but yes, I have a younger sister that I love too. And your older sister got you into the shows? She didn't. She was doing her own thing. She was straight edge, nice. And she was in a different vibe than me, and she was like the smart one, and the straight edge one. I was the little bit wilder one.
Straight edge in the sense through punk, or just straight laced and just like a different kind of kid. Okay,
I think kind of both. She was more clean cut as a kid, and also she got into kind of. It wasn't even called straight edge at that time, but it was like those kids were who were, being the more responsible kids at the shows. I was the younger, troubled, wilder,
Black
younger,
sheep.
younger sister who saw it as an invitation to party. And
what did your mom think about the music?
My mom was interestingly oblivious. My mom is kind of her marches to her own drummer too. But I remember us having like insane hair, and you know how when you're first in the scene, it's like that come here, go away like those people are fucking staring at us, where you're like, well, of course they're farmers and your hair's green, like of course. But my mom was like, what? No one would stare at you. I'm like, Mom, they are staring. But so she was kind of nicely oblivious to it.
It must be crazy back then to have green hair in Kansas.
Yeah.
Especially in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. It was and in the very beginning, but it was a good sized scene. It grew pretty quickly. And so, Lawrence is a very liberal, edgy town. William Burroughs lived there. Like the singer of The Flock of Seagulls ended up showing up there. Jello Biafra lived there for a while. Wow. So it's like a weird. It reminds me of what's it called in Texas, Austin, where it's like a smaller Austin, but it's like very, very lefty, open-minded.
What kind of kid were you before, like, you found punk rock? Like, you were a shy kid? How were you in school? Like, what was your deal?
I really have no idea. All I know is that I felt like I was always like I'm really into animals and nature now. Yeah. And I felt like I was always like face down in the mud looking at something, and also like leading other kids on adventures to go through the storm sewers and things. I wasn't popular or not popular. I was kind of always kind of interested in my own thing and had friends, but wasn't particularly anything.
Yeah. I think in junior high school, you started like doing photography and painting and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Screen printing.
Yep. I ended up immediately gravitating towards the arts.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was, but again, it's this emotion. Like there was a lot of rage. There was a lot of frustration. There was a lot of romance. Like the tragic romance of losing a parent is really, loss and longing get all mixed up with all kinds of things. And so I was looking for an outlet for that, and didn't end up finding it until I found film when I was about 18, but I was looking for it.
Mm-hmm. I think you were inspired by a Superman movie too when you were a kid? Yeah.
So I was about 3 or 4 months after my dad died. Our car broke down on a road trip, and she dropped my sister and I at Superman. And that was the most profound movie-going experience for me, because it's such a great movie, but amazing also movie. He loses his dad twice in the first act, and then he becomes Superman, and I was Superman. So for me, I was like so emotional about how universal that movie was, about like he's not perfect and he has these struggles, and yet he turns into Superman. And so there was always something about that movie that once particularly I decided I wanted to be a filmmaker, I was like, I want in that the big game of emotion. Ironic that I end up going and getting to finally do Wonder Woman, so literally. But it was a big inspiration.
Wow. So and then you're in junior high school, and then you end up in DC for high school. High school is in DC, correct?
Yeah. So I guess it was my sophomore year, end of my sophomore year, I end up going to DC.
It's crazy moving around so much, like just meeting friends and trying to keep friends.
It was because I was in Kansas a good period of time. Yeah. It was okay, but then my best friend, she was Polish and had ended up moving there at the end of elementary school. So I had a new Diane, my best friend. From that point, then she and I went to college. We became camera people together, blah, 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 on and on. So there was a lot of change. And also it's a college town. Yeah. So a lot of professors and people are coming in. So the kids would change over a lot. That's true. Still I wasn't from Kansas, and going to DC was hard. Yeah,
it's definitely a different culture for sure.
And also I got moved to McLean, Virginia, which was rough.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
It's the most boring, stiff. By the way, it's like the deep South.
Okay.
It's like, it's so strange. Like Virginia, it's like, it was as if it was going to a high school in Virginia as a punk rocker. It was, they had never seen that in their lives. Like Hot Topics was the most radical thing they had ever seen. It was not existing. Meanwhile, there's great scenes right there in DC, but it was a very, very straightforward. McLean's a great town, but it was not radical.
Because I moved to St. Mary's County, which was in the South as well, and there was like Confederate flags. And people were saying words they never not supposed to say, and a lot of rednecks call me names, and it was definitely the same thing.
McLean was not like that. It was just stiff and very white and but you could feel the South was closer than you thought.
You like an alien moving there though, right? With the colored hair and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, just not happening there. Not happening there. And then you would just drive into the city and this whole other scene was going on, which was so interesting. And also the people in McLean never went to the city. Mm-hmm. So I immediately, anyway.
What year is that?
So that would be 80. So what is that?
86?
87, 86, 87, 86.
It was a great time in DC, man.
Yeah.
Was that the Summer of Love, maybe they called it? I don't know if that was the Embrace and Rites of Spring.
I missed everything.
Was it Fugazi was there, though?
Fugazi was there. So I felt like...
It was different, though.
Bad Brains was my favorite band, and they were not playing almost at all then.
They're banned then.
By the way, Bad Brains was the best show I think I ever saw, and I can't remember if it's 84 or 85, and I've heard somebody online be like, that wasn't that year. I'm like, fuck off. It was a show, and I was there. But it was either 84 or 85, and it was... Red Hot Chili Peppers opening up for Fishbone, opening up for the Bad Brains, and it rained. There was a rainstorm, so nobody went. So there were like 20 of us at the outhouse.
What?
And it was...
Oh, that's the outhouse?
And we had no idea what the Bad Brains were. And oh my God, seeing the Bad Brains, it was the most kind of mind-blowing hardcore show I ever saw in my life.
I wonder if John was with him then as a roadie, because he talks about going to Kansas.
I think he was after, because I feel like I've talked to him about that, but I think...
That's an epic show.
But it was, it was so mind-blowing because none of us were ready for Bad Brains. Mm-hmm. None of us were ready for that, for the speed, for the tightness, for the energy, explosiveness of the performance. I just remember being jaw agape. And then I was like, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. But so they weren't, I guess I forgot if they were banned then, but they were not playing. And, you and I were just reminiscing. It was a very strict moment in D.C.
Yeah, it was a different time because, there'd been a lot of violence in the D.C. scene with the D.C. Skins. It was like all kinds of separation. There was the punks, there was the Skins. And then, and then there was a time where people got sick of the violence. So they started having their own shows where you couldn't dance. There was some sort of rules in the punk scene where people were like...
Yeah. I could feel all that rules. And Diane, my best friend who was older than me, she had gone to New York. So I almost immediately just started getting on a train and going to New York. And so I was like, okay, this is great. And, you and I were reminiscing the two skinhead girls the second I got there. I had been not calling myself one way or the other, but I was peripherally, it turned out my group of friends in Kansas became the skinheads who were non-racist. They were just like, that was their style. But then I wasn't going to follow the rules of it, but I had half of it. But I was like, no, I'm not going to have a fringe full time guy and do what I want. So I had actually short bleached white hair, but I think I was wearing Docs, and I got cornered immediately by Lefty and Amy, who were like threatening to beat me up and I was like, this place sucks. This is I love DC and I love it, but it was like the scene was really tiring at that moment.
It's so crazy, like to go to a punk show and be threatened or be... obviously it was scary to go to punk shows, but to go there and not feel safe, like it's so different now. It's so much in inclusiveness now in the scene, which is beautiful. But back then it was a scary moment. Yeah, like you're not wearing the right shoelaces or whatever.
Yeah.
You get checked.
And we were just talking about, I watched that evolution in Kansas. Yeah. And it was fascinating. Like in the early shows, it wasn't actually all that visual. It was like people were just scruffy. It was more like the coming out of the Ramones, where it's like people were just wearing, Chucks and just relaxed and messy hair. Yeah. And then slowly the kind of more, heavy metal people, but then the more studs and mohawks and the whatever. And then as it went on, suddenly people started coming from all over Kansas, and suddenly the skinheads were there, the non-racist skinheads, the long hairs, the metal, and everybody started fighting. And then I was telling you, I ended up, quote unquote, in a gang. We ended up being called, because my group of friends, this group of friends that I was hanging out with, we ended up deciding that we were going to break into every building on campus. Just to be punked. Just to see if we could do it. Yeah. But then they started writing about us in the paper and calling us a gang. But then as I left, it really did get real violent and people killing each other.
Jesus.
And I was like, what? And so I felt like that happened all over the scene. It was like exactly the wild disorganization turned into exactly what we were rebelling from, which is you're not allowed to and you can't hang out with, or you blah, blah, blah,
have to dance like this.
Yeah. And DC was in the thick of that when I got there, but New York was kind of over it.
New York is his own thing, man.
New York was like post-punk hangout on Avenue A.
Yeah.
It was like more, it was more about the hang.
Yeah.
And everybody's kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah, but the scene, so you were in New York, what year would you get? So wait.
89, I got there, but I was going there every weekend, 87, 88.
Yeah, I met Token Entry in D.C. in 1986. We became pen pals with Timmy Chunks. So when I turned 18, I moved to New York in 1988 to live with Timmy Chunks. That's how I got to,
I loved Token Entry.
That's how I got to New York, just a pen pal type shit.
Oh, that's so great.
I know. And New York was just like scary. First time going to CB's, it was a Token Entry. Everybody shaved down, just like the smell, the energy at CBGB.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. Though. I don't know. Something beautiful about it too, you know?
Yeah. It was great.
Like this home away from home.
Yeah. No, great. I, for some reason, because I was going to school and my friend Diane had been going to school before me.
Yeah.
I was sort of like, there was other stuff going on. It was art.
Yeah.
So then I ended up meeting all the great DC friends that I had. One way or the other, it all started with John Joseph. It was like John, then I end up meeting Blue and Richie Stig.
Blue, yeah.
And so then Blue and
Squint.
Yeah, they end up being my best friends.
Wow.
So it was like those guys were
Legends.
my DC friends. So by the way, they
These
had
are good
been
friends to have.
But by the way, exactly. Those guys were, when I lived in DC, I heard about them all the time. Right? Oh
Legend
my God.
Stories, man.
Blue is still a good friend and friends with my husband, and we've stayed in touch with them. And Rich, I talked to not that long ago. Yeah. So anyway, I met through John. I met Blue, and then Blue ended up coming and staying with me in New York. And so then that crew was like I was just hanging out with that crew.
Yeah.
You know, like the DC, New York.
Oh, you were so protected.
Yeah.
You were so safe.
He went to Georgetown, and
cool.
Such an interesting, always been such an interesting guy, but you never would have, like, they were so notorious.
Yeah.
And by the way, then through them, I met my boyfriend of 9 years, who was one of Blue's friends, Bryan Callen, who was the comedian who...
Wait a second. Bryan Callen?
Yeah, that's who. What? So I left
the Fighter and the Kid?
Yeah, so I basically left the scene because I was dating Jimmy from Murphy's Law.
Wait. When was that?
For like a year and a half. Like when I got there.
Shout out to Jimmy G. That's amazing.
So I started going out with Jimmy. And it was so funny because Jimmy and I were just talking about this. Jimmy would never totally commit to me. I mean, he sort of did. But it was like we were just young and whatever. And so then I was like, well, fine, I'm going to stay open. And I end up meeting Bryan. And then I was like, I can't deal with this. I'm just going to go out with Bryan.
Was he in the scene?
No,
okay.
he went to the studio, the famous Taekwondo studio in DC with Blue. So Chauncey, my pit bull, had puppies, and Blue was living in my apartment at the time. So we're trying to get rid of these puppies he got Bryan to come over to get one of Chauncey's puppies. And then I meet Bryan, and I end up going out with him for 9 years. And by the way, his family is still my family.
That's incredible.
And so
I think he's moved to Austin or something, right?
He just did, yeah.
So
Bryan's like my literal brother now. There's no way I can stress it enough because his family ended up, like, after Bryan and I broke up and realized we should just be great friends, his family ended up practically adopting me, paid for my way through school, paid for my wedding. Bryan's father walked me down the aisle. What? Our kids are like cousins. So Bryan is like we actually grew up together, but his family became like I live in their apartment in New York. I was just there. It's like,
that's amazing.
So the Callens are like my family.
So they're from New York, the Callens.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's such a small world. Holy shit.
Yeah. So he was never in the scene, but he was peripherally friends with a bunch of people.
Yeah, I think John knows him too. Yeah.
So John knows him through Blue, not through, we all know each other from the same moment, not necessarily just through me.
How long are you in DC for?
2 years.
That's not long. Yeah, probably for like a long time.
Yeah.
Do we go into a lot of shows? Or you more focused on like?
I mostly started focusing on, I did go to a lot of shows, but then also I started going to dance. I just out to dance at Posers and things like that too, because I loved going dancing.
Yeah.
But then I would go to New York on the weekends.
Damn. M Street was so legendary, important for the listeners. We had Smash Records and Commander Salamander. You had the Exorcist stairs.
Yeah.
Dude, it was just a crazy place, man. But it was so cool. It's so different now. It's so like I don't want to say the word. It's just like nicer. It's super nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
But it was
Soho
so
or something.
fun. In Wonder Woman 84, I resurrected Commander Salamander.
He's told me that. It's incredible.
And we found the owner and all the stuff in storage. They couldn't put it on the right side of the street, which for some reason really bothered me. Because I was like, that's not where it is.
How'd you track the owner down?
I don't know.
Who is the owner?
I don't know.
Crazy.
I don't know, but my production, production people did it. But because it was 84 too, I tried to get my production designer, who's amazing, on her own, went and got a bunch of original flyers. Of course, and John sent a bunch of Cro-Mag swag and things.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, there's John gets sucked in. I'm not on the forums that see these things of people in the hardcore scene, which I hate when people are policing the hardcore scene like this. I'm like, guys, they were like, those flyers are, I'm like, dude, I didn't pick the flyers.
I'm
year. Like, my production designer, God bless her for finding real flyers at all. So the order was wrong and the whatever, and the Cro-Mags t-shirt was a reprint. And John ended up having to get involved and being like, I sent it to her. I'm the one that sent it to her. Because people were wanting to go out. It's
hardcore historians. Jesus.
Yeah, the hardcore police are always hilarious.
Just be happy they getting
let's have joy that we all share this
happy
thing
it's in the
together.
movie. Get to see the Cro-Mags or whatever in the movies. That's cool.
Yeah.
So Commander, wow, did anybody else in the movie understand what that meant to you?
A few people, a very few people.
How important it was.
John came down, I think, at some point. A couple people, and then people would come by when we were shooting. People would walk by and look at it, and you'd have these great conversations with people being like, "Oh my God, that's Commander Salamander." Amazing. It was so fun.
And how do you end up in New York because you're going to school there, correct?
Yeah. So when I was in
arts, right?
Cooper Union.
Cooper Union.
So when I was in junior high, we had a teacher in high school who was a great art teacher, and she always talked about Cooper, and it it's free if you get in, and only 20 people get in a year. And so I knew that my mom was working as hard as she could, but it's not easy putting two kids through college, and so it wasn't going to be that easy. And so I became fixated on it was like a badge of honor to try to get in, but also that it was free. And so I was like, ding, ding, ding. So I didn't discover film because I was so driven to get into Cooper that all through junior high and high school, I was just eyes on the prize to get into Cooper. So I was like, I'll make myself whatever artist I have to be. And so then I got into Cooper, thank God. And the second I got to Cooper, I took an experimental film course, and because my first love is music, it really is.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I just didn't want to play. I was in a band. It made me very uncomfortable for a minute.
What you do in the band?
I was the singer of a band. I was awful.
What?
And a punk band. And I was so uncomfortable. I just wasn't the place for me.
You played shows and stuff or no?
We did play one show.
Was this in Kansas?
One or two in Kansas, yeah.
What was the band called? Do you remember?
Femme Fatale. Terrible.
Okay.
Terrible. Not my choice.
Okay.
But it was fun.
It's a cool name.
It was cool. I still have the photographs of it. But
you tried, yeah.
They asked me and I said yes. And then I think everybody saw how uncomfortable. I mean, I was fine, but I was not great. And so it was I loved music. But the second I put music to time, suddenly I was and I remember Peter Gabriel did the score to Birdie. And I remember listening to it on the train between DC and New York. And I was like, that's what I want to do with my life.
Damn.
Whatever that made me feel. And it's interesting that it ends up being about Vietnam vet. And in retrospect, I think my dad's death, but then also I've really pondered a lot only in the last year or two. I was like, wait a minute. It's not just my dad's death. I was living in Thailand, absorbing the energy of my dad who's fucking murdering people every day. And his friends are dying. And he's coming in. That's my dad, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, so I was just, as soon as you're old enough to realize you're absorbing this energy around you, I think it's interesting that the soundtrack of Birdie and me being, just hearing that complexity of emotion and struggle and confusion and loss. It's interesting that it was the subject matter it was.
Damn. So you're in Cooper Union you graduated in 1993 from there, I think, correct?
No, I went in 89, graduated in 93. Did you say 93? I thought you said 83. Yeah, 93.
My bad. Yeah, 93. Yeah. You got BFA undergraduate degree, but also while you're in there, is the place where you 20? No, because after that you started doing some interning at a commercial place where you traded you made a deal. You worked for free on the sets in change of like film training, which I thought was really clever.
Yeah, so I got
nice.
an internship. I begged to get an internship at a commercial production company.
Right after you graduated?
Right after I graduated. And then I was their worst intern ever because at that time they really, and probably even still, they try to shuttle women into producing. And so they wanted me to make phone calls, and I've just never sat in an office. It's not for me. So I was like, oh, I want to die. Like, I don't want to hustle on phone calls finding about music videos. So they were doing a music video in Cooperstown, and they suddenly realized they needed a diesel truck to be driven up there. And I was like, I can absolutely drive a diesel truck. Like, they were like, you can? And I was like, for sure. And there was another intern there named Sam Levy, who's now a very famous cinematographer in his own right and shoots for Greta Gerwig and all kinds of people. And he was the other intern, and he was younger than me. And I was like, give me Sam, and we're going to go up there. And so we drive this truck up, and I almost shear the top of the truck off going under Central Park. I like stop right before shearing it off. But then we end up getting up to Cooperstown, and a guy who was the punk rocker older than me, Hernan Otaño, was a loader on it. And he's a great DP now too. And I saw him. So he'd been like the predecessor at McLean High School punk rocker. And he was like, yo, you should quit your job and you should PA. You could make all this money. And he ended up introducing me to the camera crew. And they said, okay, if you work for us for free, we'll teach you. And that crew I ended up getting trained by, and they were like top shelf camera crew.
Was that a Michael Jackson thing commercial?
That was, I did a Michael Jackson video. That was a couple years later. That was years later, because that was about 2 or 3 years later, because I was a first AC by then. So I was now doing the higher level job at that point. That was an incredible story. But then I did, I did for 8 years, I did literally thousands of every glamour ghetto hip hop video that happened in the city I was
really?
Oh yeah, I did every Wu-Tang, Mary J, Biggie, all of Puffy, all
like
of
the big
P
hits?
Diddy coming, all of them. Like we were oblivious to that's what they were, because particularly in the punk scene, we were all fixated on NWA.
Yeah, not for sure.
Or at least
Public Enemy.
Yeah, the slightly harder, stuff. And so when this movement of music came, like none of us knew what we were looking at.
Damn, you did Wu-Tang too, you said?
I did a bunch of Wu-Tang, yeah.
Wow.
And so then I did all those videos and ended up doing Michael Jackson and Madonna, but Elton John.
Which Madonna, do you remember?
Secret.
No way, that's crazy.
Yeah. And
great song.
But it was a great training. So I was lucky to be successful enough to be working a lot as a camera person, and you did 3 jobs a week. Yeah. And so I was just so busy going job to job to job to job. And that was 8 years,
That's
that was great.
Man. What, you remember what Biggie one you did?
I did.
Or Mary J. Blige?
I mean, so many. I did.
Damn.
I did.
I'm looking up somewhere.
Yeah, many. It's funny because last night I was at a party and a couple of them played.
Oh, so a couple of the songs?
A couple of the songs played, and I was like, yep, that one I remember. Jodeci, and I remember doing Usher's first video, Brandy's, or maybe it was Usher's second, but we thought it was his first. Brandy's, like all these people, but it was just like, it was such on fire, that scene. And because it was low budget, as a new person, you got bumped up really quick. Because they couldn't afford the crew that's doing the Volvo commercial. But so then I got hired and bumped up to being a second and a first much more quickly than I would have otherwise.
Yeah, you were second assistant, also camera, focus puller?
Focus puller. It's the
mean?
first AC. So that's the person who you're not operating the camera.
Okay.
But you end up being responsible for all of the equipment. Okay. So you go and you check out all the equipment. You make sure it all works. You build it. The operator comes in, and then you're pulling focus on the talent, which back in the day that you were just literally doing it by hand on marks. There was nothing else.
Were you loving all that stuff while you were doing it? Were you in it?
I had a love-hate relationship with it. Yeah. I loved it because I was learning so much, but not about, I've always wanted to be a writer-director. Yeah. And to be good at my job, I had to change who I was. I had to have memorized flange focal distances and be reading, manuals about how to fix, the new cameras, and to be really good at it, it took everything I had, and then you're not paying attention at all. And I mean, that's what I'm even saying these videos. I'm like, I was not paying attention half the time because I'm so preoccupied with the equipment working. And so as the years went by, I started to get more and more frustrated with myself because I'm like, you're not writing anything on the side. Like you're busy all the time.
Yeah.
And I was making $100,000+ a year in the middle of it. So I was like living large, going skiing, but also no way out. And so that's when I was like, I don't know how to get out of this. I didn't want anybody to know that I wanted to be a director, but I was like, I got to bust a move, if I'm going to ever change.
Is that when you went to AFI?
Yeah. So then on the Michael Jackson video, I remember,
met some,
so that must have been, Michael Jackson video must have been 96 or 97 because that's nearing the end of my time.
Correct.
And or getting closer. And a guy, the cinematographer's name was Peter Levy. And I didn't tell people very often, but I ended up having a conversation with him where I was like, I just am frustrated because I want to do these other things. And I said, but I don't want to go to film school after all these years. Like, I don't want to get to the rudimentaries of film. And so he said, there's a school called AFI where you can get in just as a director. And I was like, that's it. And Bryan and I were going out, and Bryan got Mad TV. And so Bryan was coming out here anyway. And he and I were always breaking up and getting back together. But then we got back together. We decided we were going to move to LA together.
Oh, what? Wow.
And he was doing Mad TV. And so I applied to AFI and got in. Wow. And then we moved here. And then 3 months after we moved here, we broke up. But we've been great friends.
That was like 2000, I think you moved here or something like that.
That was 99.
99.
Yeah.
Damn, because that's when you got your master's degree in directing, was 2000, I think maybe.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
So it was 98 to 2000, yeah.
Damn. And did you know anybody out here in Cali besides?
No, because of Bryan.
Yeah,
because Bryan was here, so it was like I moved here with my best friend anyway. Yeah. So I had Bryan, and then Bryan had some friends, friends that he'd gone to college with that I'd met before, and so we had people around. And Bryan and I always stayed friends even after we broke up. So that made it easier.
Did you like being in California?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Not really. It wasn't for me. I very much came here eyes on the prize of like,
you're focused.
I gotta get my foot in the door.
Yeah.
So that I can go back to New York, which is now 20+ years later.
That's so crazy.
Still haven't made it back.
And so when you graduate from that, I mean, this is before Monster, obviously, but you do some things before that, right?
No.
Actually, no, you actually don't.
No.
I think you just did the Velocity Rules thing. I think it was 2001.
Yeah, I did that. I did Velocity Rules at AFI. That was my senior thesis project. And then it got into AFI Fest. And at AFI Fest, I was the most desperate I'd ever been because I'd been sort of moonlighting doing camera work. But I knew that I was going to have to go back to it. If I didn't, I was like, I've got to make it right now. And so I was never so desperate as I was right in that moment to make it. But then I got lucky that I met this guy, Brad Wyman, and he was making straight to video serial killer movies. Yeah. And I was like, you should make one about Eileen Wuornos.
And then you met Donald Kushner too from that.
Yeah,
correct?
So he ended up hooking me up with Donald Kushner. Fuck. But that was a long story too. But it was like he said you should make it because nobody you're not going to get anything else made. And so that began this journey. I had always been I've always been a true crime buff. Okay. And her story I had always been really fixated on and watching how it was misunderstood. And so thank God that that's a crazy journey of how that movie got made and turned into how I was able to pull it out of being a straight to video thing. But
really?
Anyway, yeah.
Wow.
Thank God.
That movie. Yeah. I mean, that's when I first, when that first came out, I think John maybe mentioned, that's my girl from the scene, whatever. That was an incredible movie, man. That's like your first movie. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, thank you. That was so lucky that it put me on the map as a working director. Yeah. Thank God. Even though I was so broke and it was a little bit tough because I now became known as a director and I was like, yeah, but now I can't do camera work and I have like $80,000 in debt on my credit cards. Damn. Like, what am I going to do? So it wasn't an easy road
I think the movie came out and was really a success.
Yeah, it made $60+ million, but I got paid $60,000 start to finish and not a dime more because I wasn't in the union.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, so I got nothing.
Holy shit.
Yeah, or maybe it didn't make 60.
I mean, that's a great first for your resume, though.
I think it's close.
God.
Yeah.
Charlize, wow, man. So who'd you send that to before you picked Charlize? So was there a bunch of people that tried to be in the movie?
No. So here's the crazy thing.
Is she who you wanted?
She's who I wrote it for ultimately.
Oh, she's amazing.
So the story there that's so nuts. So Eileen, I had actually been on a road trip in '89 when those crimes were happening. I had been in Florida.
Okay.
And I remember hearing about these murders that were going on. But also there was a male serial killer killing prostitutes at the same time. So I knew that. And so I knew like that she was hooking in Florida in a context that was very dangerous because none of us knew about the guys getting killed, but we all knew that women were getting killed.
Yes.
And so that's what's going on. So when she ended up getting caught, I had followed her story on the news. And what ends up being the final scene in the movie where her girlfriend points to her and she nods to her that it's okay, which I was like, oh my, what is this? This is like, and growing up the way that we grew up, like I knew a lot of people who had gone down really dark paths. You know, I knew friends that had murdered people and gone to prison, and I had a different kind of compassion for it. So what I saw was a desperate person backed into a corner, and I was like, what's the story here? And then the way her story was covered was like, she's a man-hating lesbian. She loves it. I'm like, what? Is that you guys can't put, this is a person who was a hooker for 30, years and starting when she's 8, and you can't put the pieces together that like, this is a damaged person. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so it always bugged me. So when I got the opportunity to start working on it, they were like, oh, it's going to be like a TNA straight to video, whatever, lesbian thing. And so I had they didn't care what I wrote really. So then I started writing it, but I got more and more laden down with the real responsibility of that. I started writing Eileen. She started writing me.
Wow.
And so the original person that Brad Wyman introduced me to was really sketchy and making me real tense. And I had to walk away. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do this worse version of it. And then Brad Wyman said, okay, fine, I'll do it. Brought me to Donald Kushner. And it gave me the cover to start writing it as I wanted to. So the movie is very much what my original draft was. But as I was going through it, I was like, who can do this? And once I thought of Charlize, it suddenly was like, click. I could just tell she's such a badass, but she's also such an emotional and loving person that I was like, I was afraid of it being a woman who was too hard and that you wouldn't get the love story. Or I was afraid of a woman who was too soft, that if she held a gun, you weren't going to believe it. And again, having been in the scene and having encountered, several dangerous people, like I know what that is. And so I was always saying like, it's the kind of thing we could only say in the scene. But I was like, if I can feel like I could take her, that's not great. Charlize, I'm not so sure I could take. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to tussle with Charlize. So I was like, she's this perfect blend of like really powerful and also really vulnerable.
Yeah. And so when she got it, she loved the script. And
no. So then we released it. I never knew that women would come out of the woodwork to do it because they're so desperate for roles. And so then when higher and higher level women started raising their hand, then I was like, okay, well then I wrote it for Charlize, and Charlize was very taken aback by like, what? Like, why would you be writing this to me? But I think in one meeting she saw that it was like not a TNA play.
Yeah.
It was not, I was like really sincere, and then she signed on and was a great partner.
Incredible, man.
Yeah, it was
I can't imagine anybody else playing that role, you know what I mean? Like, she was incredible.
Yeah, she was so great and a great partner.
And then what about writing the real one in jail? Like writing her,
She was exactly Eileen. She wasn't my best friend. She didn't trust me. She didn't. By the way, I have the same name as her first public defender, which is very strange.
Really?
Patty Jenkins, Patricia Jenkins.
Whoa.
So strange.
Damn.
So she was like, and she was had no mental health help. Understanding how to process what had happened. So she would oscillate wildly between I'm totally innocent or I'm a horrible person and I should be killed. She didn't understand. And I would try to express to her in the letters, I think both things can be true.
Yeah.
I think it's okay that you made, particularly the second to last John that she killed, she made a horrible, obviously she killed 7 people. They're all a mistake, but she told herself that she could tell who was a dangerous John and who wasn't.
Yeah.
And by the end, she was killing people for their cars. And the second to last guy she killed was a minister who was just trying to give her a ride. and never propositioned her at all. And she shot him in the head. And so she never got over that crime. She knew who she was to have done it.
Damn.
And she never got over the fact that the first guy was a convicted serial rapist and that she was an innocent victim and defending herself. And so I knew that I was on the right track. But then 6 months into my correspondence with her, right before I was about to get the movie made, they announced her execution like a month later.
Oh, wow.
And so then Charlize and I were about to go down and meet her, and we said, we're not going to take up your visits. And then the night before she was executed, she ended up telling her best friend, Dawn Botkins, to take all of the 7,000 letters that she had collected in prison and give them to us to read. And so we ended up having this treasure trove of real information to work with, which were so incredibly helpful to proving to me that I had been right on track with what I wrote, but even filling out the performance, because she would talk about things that you wouldn't have known looking at her, like the fact that one of her greatest pieces of integrity was that she had naturally blonde hair.
Okay.
And so she would write in her letters, like, you would never know that I was a prostitute. No, I looked very put together and I have very clean hair. My hair is always clean. And then you watch video of her and you realize the second she's threatened, she always adjusts her hair. And you're like, that's what's going on there. So the performance was so helped by all of the details.
Those details.
Yeah.
She went through a bunch of those letters and read them?
Yeah.
Wow. And who are they too? Is all kinds of people?
Different. It was a lot her girlfriend, a lot Dawn Botkins, like a lot. It was, it was crazy.
Wow, man. How old was she when she was,
I don't remember. 30s.
Wow.
Yeah. In her 30s. Maybe.
You still have some of the letters?
Probably.
That's crazy.
Yeah. They're probably in my archive of monster stuff.
So she never got to see the movie. That's crazy.
No, thank God, I got to say. Thank God. I could tell by her letters she couldn't handle it.
Really?
Yeah. By the way the movie blew up, it's uncomfortable for anyone.
Yeah.
Like it's you know how it is. It's like uncomfortable. And so for her, I could tell by the letters that she wrote me that she was like, they did a Lifetime thing about me, but the woman was carrying an orange bag. I didn't have an orange bag. And I was like, ooh, this is going to be rough on her. Like it's never going to be a photocopy of her real life. It's about the greater truth of like, are we telling your story actually in, the best we can?
Wow. So you put this out, this is your first movie and it just blows up. And then are people like, who are you? What do you, people that knew you in the industry knew you've been grinding for years, doing what you're doing right behind the scenes?
Yeah.
But when you first get, you're like a new face in Hollywood, I guess, right?
Yeah.
You can come out.
Yeah. And that was great and wild and like, and probably the most successful I'll ever be in my life. And I remember noticing it because I was like, I remember going to the Oscar parties and things and saying, look around, you'll never be this successful again because you just went from zero to here to sitting at the Oscars. It'll never be like that again. And it's true. It's like, I learned so much from that moment of being like, don't make your life here. There's something very cold about some of it. Mm-hmm. And making the movie was very warm. Like I really passionately loved it. So I was like, remember to always love the movies you make and don't do it for any other reason because this is a business, And so like, make sure you're loving what you're doing. And then that's all that matters, and, but it was also incredible to have like, Al Pacino, Dustin Hoffman wanting to meet you and Warren Beatty becoming my friend and like my idols from my childhood. Dude. That was incredible. Incredible.
Did she get nominated for that?
She won.
That's right. She won. That's right.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It was like, whoa.
And that's just amazing. Just like reading a script and saying yes to a person she doesn't know you from anywhere and just, that's incredible, man. And then she wins. It's fuck.
It was wild.
Holy shit. We became friends with her, obviously, from that, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, wild.
So she was incredible in that. And just seeing the way because she's so beautiful. And then her characters I think it was like one of the first times I've seen like an actress kind of really do that, really just switch like that and look so she's beat down. I don't know, just crazy.
Also, the thing is that she is so beautiful.
Yeah.
That at that moment, she hadn't shown any other side of her.
That's what I mean.
And but also, a lot of people don't have what Charlize has inside of them. She's got great power and complexity. So in a way, I felt like I was getting to see, you're getting to show the real human being inside there. Of course, she's not Eileen, but people are so thrown by the looks.
Absolutely.
That they're not seeing the girl, the person, you know, who's like who was a sturdy farm girl in South Africa, who's real smart and capable, but like it was just, they were blinded by the looks. So I felt like it was her getting to really just let loose and be who she's capable of being.
Yeah, you don't even realize it's even her at some point in the movie. It's like, okay, this is actually Eileen. You know what I mean? It's like she's so good at it.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. So you go to the award show, and then you're like the new hot shit in town. You're the director or whatever, and then the success from that, how does that change your life?
So it did. It totally. The biggest thing is it totally changes your life. That in good ways and bad. Because, like I said, I couldn't do other jobs now. Now I'm a director. The pressure immediately flips to, can you hold on to it? Yeah. So it immediately becomes like, can you follow it up? Can you do it? I was like, whoa, I don't know where to. I only know how to work from desperate want. Like I would have directed. I would have directed a Nickelodeon TV show right before. I would have done anything to get. And so now I'm going to a place of like suddenly I'm preciously supposed to protect something. I was like, I don't know how to work from there, and so I just was like, all I know is that do movies for love, don't do them for money. And I was broke. So I was like, I gotta start. So I because of Bryan, I knew the guys from Arrested Development, and I loved that show. That was my favorite show. So then I was like, I want to direct TV.
That was the next thing.
I want to direct TV. And everybody was at that time, feature directors weren't doing TV, so it was a very befuddling choice. Yeah. They were like, they're very different worlds. And I was like, no, I knew I wanted to work and learn, but not making movies. Movies I wanted to do as my whole art form, you know? And so thank God Jason Bateman and Bryan and I were out to dinner, and Jason went to bat for me and was like, give her a chance to direct TV. Yeah. And also Jason knew everybody who knew me from Bryan, because I was with Bryan at the beginning of his stand-up. I was at his, I don't want to take total credit for it, but I kind of do. I'm the one that told him to do stand-up. He was an actor. Wow. And I was like, incredible. He's the funniest person we know. He is funny. And I was like, dude, go do stand-up. So I was there at all those first shows. So I was friends with all these comedians. And so I'll always remember Jeff Ross saying to me when I made Monster, he was like, what? Like, what? Like, we thought you were going to be a comedy director. And I was like, so did I. That's just the door that opened. And so Jason knew me through Bryan, and those guys knew that I was not, a darky McDark, and I liked and I liked comedy. So anyway, Mitch Hurwitz gave me a shot on Arrested Development, and it was the funnest directing I've ever done.
How many episodes you do on there?
Well, this is my great regret, right? Because from right after I did Monster, I was desperate to make a movie, and I kept trying to get movies going, and nobody would make my second movie, which is another story. Yeah. Only in retrospect am I'm like, that's maybe gender got something. Like anybody who makes a movie like that, you give a shot to their $5 million second movie. Dude, and nobody would do weird. Mine. They were like, we don't want your ideas, but we want, and by the way, nobody thought Monster would succeed either. So it was like, so they wanted me to direct their movies, which I'm honored. So I got offered a lot of movies, but I didn't like them or didn't feel like I was the right director for them. And nobody would make my movie. So then doing TV was a great thing. So, but I would always for many years thought my movie's about to go. Like that's how it goes. You're like, it's about to happen. So I did the second, I think it was nearly the beginning of the second season episode. And Mitch asked me to be a season director and come back and do more episodes. And I said I couldn't. And then my fucking movie doesn't go anyway. What? So it's like, it's only in retrospect that I'm like, oh my God, those years I didn't end up doing anything, and I could have just directed more Arrested Development and just sat. They were the funniest cast, and those were the funniest scripts. It was just the best. Damn. And so I wish I had done more.
So you do that, and you're still focusing on your second movie still, right?
Yeah. And then
not giving up on it.
Always trying to get.
It never came out?
No, there were a couple different movies, but there was one called I Am Superman about a pit bull in a men's prison and program that because of Eileen, because of our friends, because of the people I've known, I ended up getting really sucked into the prisoners that I knew, and then got sucked into how corrupt what I was seeing was, and how there's no way out. Like once some of these guys, particularly if you're a person of color, God help you. Like once you get branded an inmate, it's this myth from the outside that like, get them in there in redemption. I'm like, okay, well, if they redeem themselves, you're never letting them out anyway. And what it takes to survive in prison makes it very hard. Anyway, it was a movie about, really, it was a fairy tale between a dog and a man. But through it, I was showing you, like, you don't know who you're looking at.
Yeah,
like,
I love that.
What's going on here is not what you think. There's no way out for these guys, you know? And so I was really passionate about it. I spent a lot of time in dog prison programs. And but no one would make the movie. And for the most telling reason, because every place, even the most bleeding heart people that I took it to were like, okay, but let's make it about James' redemption. Can he stab someone in the beginning? And I'm like, you're missing the point.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're missing the point that prisons are full of people who did redeem themselves a long time ago. Yes. And I was basing it on a guy who actually was one of the founding members of the Aryan Brotherhood, who had been in prison since he was 11 and had never done anything. And there's a lot of these people. He had gotten put in juvie, raped. One thing leads to another. He ends up lying about his age. He ended up being put in San Quentin when he was 16 because he lied and said he was 18. And he's been in ever since.
Wow. Stabbed
people to survive. Had to click with the white guys. Yep. It ends up becoming the Aryan Brother. He's not one of the founding members, but he's early. He's not technically, but he was like in the early days of that. And he ended up dying in prison. And you're like, damn, and he wrote a book called I Cried You Didn't Listen. And it was like, this is a child who never did anything. But once you get in the web of the juvenile justice.
There's a lot of stories like that too.
So many.
Wow.
And so anyway, that's was
a great story.
I know. One day I'll make it. It's funny. I talked about it on Malcolm Gladwell's podcast, and I've gotten a lot of calls about it since, but I'm like, I'm not making it right now because I'm working on something else, but one day I will. One day I will. Anyway, back to the question. So I kept trying to get that movie made.
Yeah.
And it kept not going. And so then I directed Entourage for a while. And then I moved on, which was super fun too.
Congratulations, by the way, we're doing a Wonder Woman. That must have been so amazing for you because you love Superman.
It was great.
It's not Superman, but
yeah. Oh, it was so great.
But how do you get Wonder Woman? Just, is it like you pitch for the job? I don't know how it works.
That's a long story. So basically,
that long.
Yeah. But basically, because of Superman, when I was in New York, I was making movies starring me, because I didn't have anybody else. So I would just shoot by myself starring me. Yeah. Right?
It's awesome.
And I remember someone making the comment to me, oh, you can go for being like, basically it would almost be like Girls or Woody Allen. And they were like, oh, you could be this kind of filmmaker who just makes things about you and your friends, because that's who were in my films. And I remember standing in Astor Square looking at the Cube and thinking to myself, no. And I saw this shimmer and I was like, I want in the big game. And I was thinking about Superman. And I was like, I want to like, and it wasn't that I wanted to be a big director. It was I wanted to touch that.
Yeah.
What Superman had done to me. I was like, I want in the big game of the big emotions. And so right after I made Monster, when I did my round of meeting everyone in town, I told Warner Brothers, I want to do Wonder Woman. And because I couldn't believe no one had done it, and I love Wonder Woman, and they were doing Chris Nolan's Dark Knights at the time, so they were like, we don't know what we're doing, but so basically ever after 2004, I would go in every year or two and talk to them about Wonder Woman.
Really?
When I was pregnant in 2008, they actually sent me a script and asked me if I wanted to do it, and I was like, well, I can't now, I'm pregnant, and so it was just. Ever between when I told them that and when it finally happened, I was I think the only woman in town telling people that I wanted to do a superhero movie. So then I got Thor: The Dark World as a result, the job, because people knew that I was the one saying I really wanted to do it. I really loved them and I wanted to do it. And so, to their credit, Marvel gave me that job when they didn't need to hire a woman at all. So it was not a gender thing. Yeah. And it didn't work out because we couldn't agree on, I didn't feel like I was the right director for the script they ended up wanting to do. Yeah. And and I wasn't. But anyway, when the moment came for Wonder Woman, thank God, so it wasn't like, yes, I had to, bid for the job and try to get it, and it was that was a long, complicated process.
You've been talking about this for years, or you've been trying to
But I've been talking about it for years, and so it was a slightly different thing.
So the Monster definitely opened up doors to your world. So you can go have these meetings and sit downs and meet all these people. And
my life changed dramatically in that way. You know, I went from Patty, nobody cares, to being like, Patty, I am a director. I meet all of these people. They have seen my film, which is so weird when you meet people who you look up to and they now have seen something that you've done. And so it was life-changing in the luckiest thing in that way.
Yeah, which leads you to Wonder Woman for sure. Like and that's like, that movie is the highest grossing movie directed by a woman ever.
Not now, but was.
Who came after you?
Barbie. Barbie surpassed it.
You're right.
Thank God. I mean, because even when it happened, I'm like, well, if nobody surpassed me, then I wouldn't have made very many inroads, would I have? I wouldn't have made much change if nobody was able to, as a result, go further. It was
Barbie.
Thank God. I love those guys, and I'm super proud of them, you know?
So you had the reigning title for a while. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, it was like $822 million or something crazy like that.
Yep.
Oh my God. And so how does your life change at that point with that? Obviously, we're not talking about finance, but now it's like, okay, Monster to that is like, people already knew your name, but it's probably a whole different world of people that didn't know your name, obviously, in that world, in the Marvel world.
For a little while, it was so dramatic. Like right when Wonder Woman 1 came out, we blew up way bigger than anybody expected. And also, we were a good story. And so we blew up really big, like me going on talk shows and, you know, like real wild. And that was crazy. There was a moment there that I was like, who am I? Like, because I've just been working so hard.
Yeah.
Like when you're making the movie, you're just grinding it.
And how many years did it take to make that?
2.5.
Okay.
So then you pull your head out and suddenly you're like, what? I'm like signing autographs and people are taking my I'm like, what is my life?
Especially that dimension of all that stuff.
Yeah. And also the volume on superhero world is so big. And like, I was aware that the real famous thing is Wonder Woman.
Fandom.
And not me, you know, but I was also honored to be playing the role of the representative of that at this moment. So Gal and I were both very partnered and then like, okay, we know that this stuff comes and goes. I'm very lucky in the fact that I've weathered those moments, that moment being a real weird because people actually started recognizing me on the street. And that was not comfortable. That was not for me. Mm-hmm. And it was fine, but I was like, oh no, like I don't want to lose my anonymity.
Yeah.
And luckily, as I'm a director, like nobody knows who I am now. Like it just goes right back away again, you know?
Yeah.
It's like people in the industry know, but in general, like it goes on to the next thing.
Yeah.
It just goes on, which I don't dislike. I think is kind of great because I just want to be doing my art and focusing on that. And I'm happy to play the role of Patty Jenkins, director of, when that helps anything. But I also very much like just living a normal life.
But this definitely put you in another stratosphere
big
as far
time.
As
it changed my life.
Yeah, it changed your life.
And it actually was hard to process after Wonder Woman 84 because I didn't have a break. So I went straight from, that's the other weird thing is I went straight from Wonder Woman to my husband sold another true crime story that I had always wanted to do for me and Chris Pine, I Am the Night, a limited series that we did in between. But it meant, but then they decided they needed the next movie immediately. So it meant I now no longer had time to do this limited series that had been sold on me and Chris's involvement.
Whoa.
So it meant I had to go from finishing the movie to immediately doing I Am the Night to on a day that the two studios negotiated on, December 27th, I had to switch back over and fly to England and be on the movie. So meanwhile, I missed the whole thing. Like whatever was going on of like me becoming this other person, I just was like on a treadmill of work.
Damn.
So coming out of Wonder Woman 84, it really was like, that was 8 years ago. I don't even remember what is this life I live now? Like, who am I now? Like on the other side of these movies. Mm-hmm. So it's been thank God that I had a break afterwards to kind of process it.
Yeah.
But it's been interesting.
Because the pandemic hits then, obviously, and that changes for the movie. I mean.
But it's taken me a couple years to sort of be like, okay, like detox the ride of like what those things are and, you know.
Yeah. Was the Wonder Woman 84, it would have been probably just as big, but the pandemic made it go streamed to HBO, but it was the most streamed in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And #1 selling DVD for like a year and a half.
DVD too, which is crazy in 2020. Yeah, that's awesome.
I know. It was a heartbreaker because I do think it. I'm genuinely confused by never having had an understanding of the movie, because when you never see it with an audience.
Oh yeah.
I never saw it with an audience.
That's crazy.
And it was such a huge following of the people who loved it, and I think it would have made a ton of money. So there are those movies. I always knew they were going to say not as good as the first one, but so of course they're going to give you shit like, oh, it's not as good as the first one. But a lot of times those movies then make a ton of money, and I know it would have.
Yeah.
And so, but without that, then you're just like, oh, and it just quietly drifts off into the night.
Yeah.
And no one ever gets to see it on the big screen, and none of the fans ever get a screening. It was very strange. But listen, of all the bad things going on in the pandemic, it was the least of the tragedies. So I was
there a lot of pressure making Wonder Woman second one?
Yeah.
84?
On both. You know, there is, I can't understate how much pressure there is being responsible for any beloved IP like that, even on yourself for the fans, because it's like, it's a lot of, you're trying to do a really good job for a lot of people who love this character.
Yeah, because they're like, not that you care, but they're probably like nitpick everything like they do with like hardcore t-shirts and whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They'll be like, this character, that's the one I grew up on.
Totally.
Different shirt. And Gail was probably amazing to work with too, right?
She's the greatest.
Yeah.
I can't say enough good things about Gail.
Killed that. Incredible, man.
Yeah, she's the best.
Probably the first time I even heard about her before, because I know she's done things before that, but that was just like, wow, man.
Yeah, she's the greatest.
Is she from South America?
Israel?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
She was amazing. So that goes straight to HBO Max, but it's one of the most streamed. So it never even makes the theater. Fuck, that's crazy, man.
I literally never saw it. We didn't even have a cast and crew screening, nothing. I never saw it with anybody.
And do you feel like all your hard work you put into it is like that nobody's going to see it?
Well, yeah, particularly because I shot it in IMAX with all practical wire effects with Cirque du Soleil performers. So it's like, you don't get to see that. You can't even really, and even by the way, I watched it on streaming and I couldn't understand half the dialogue because the mixes it just never, no matter how much you try, it doesn't quite translate to the small screen in the same way. And
how was it received to that world, to the Wonder Woman world? Do you think it was received well for that movie?
Yeah, to the fan base.
They love it. Yeah.
To the comic book fans who are not Wonder Woman fans, those guys are always gunning for anything that's not their favorite thing. But that's just comic books,
That's like a whole new dimension you stepped into. You probably knew nothing about. That
yeah,
world.
I mean, I'm a comic book fan myself.
Okay.
So I had always collected graphic novels and loved comic books, but so I know about it. But it's just, it doesn't matter. It's
it's what the fandom and stuff.
Any fandom is a fandom. You
go
know,
to Comic Cons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Do people freak out on you when you go there?
Yeah, at the time, at the time we're doing the Hall H and the panels and things, and it's something else. It's really wild. It's such a wild ride.
So the 2020, that's 5 years ago. That's crazy, the pandemic. So yeah, that comes out. So what are you doing during the pandemic? Are you still trying to?
So I had a couple different, it's I've had a couple different things, but I also was exhausted. And so I was.
Were you in LA during the pandemic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Gal's family and my family went to Hawaii for a little while as a break. That was such a nice mid-pandemic break.
It was a wild time.
But so I've worked on various this and that, and but only sort of now am I really okay, I'm ready to go again. Because honestly, I did work 7 days a week for 7 years straight, making those two movies, and so I was exhausted and physically shot. So it's been great to kind of be with my son.
Yeah.
Particularly as he was he had been on set with us the whole time, but to just really get to be with him when he turned to be a teenager.
And traveling around with you and stuff and all that stuff.
Yeah, he's always been, we've always stuck together as a family on set. We just all go. And luckily Gal's family too. So we were like a carnival circus. But,
you were saying before the pod, he wants to be an actor too as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's an interesting thing to have your child grow up on set watching.
Yeah, for sure.
And he particularly would watch Chris work, and Chris is such a great actor. And so of course your child is going to be like, okay, cool. And he was really good friends with Lily, who played little Diana.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were hanging out all the time. And so it's an interesting, different way to have such a close upfront view of like, okay, here's the industry. I'd like to give a shot at this sort of thing too. And of course, he's my husband and my child, and he's a writer and I'm a writer director, and so like of course our son's going to be probably similar to us.
Yeah,
you know,
my son too.
I know, it's so
music.
cool.
I know,
it's so cool.
You would think they might rebel against us and do something completely opposite, but also that they're raised in it. Like my son traveled on tour his whole life and then kind of watched and learned how to play drums. It's cool.
Did nice. You took your son with you? You guys all
everywhere.
traveled?
My wife was.
Isn't it great?
Yeah, my wife was pregnant on tour. We announced she was having a baby at CBGB on the last day of the tour.
That's so great.
Yeah, then Max has been to Japan. He's been all around the world since he was young, and that's like amazing. World traveler, you know?
So great. And that's the other thing too, is it's the circus lifestyle.
Yes, it is.
So you've also, I feel like film is so comfortable to me because of the military. So it's like the moving, picking up, moving, new thing, new this, new crew on the ground, who does this, who does that. Like being on a set has always felt so comfortable to me, so much more comfortable than being a Hollywood director. Yeah. I'm like, I don't quite know how to do that. I do now, but it's like that was much more foreign to me than being on set. Okay, where are we? What are we doing? And constant moving. And so
that's like New Yorker in you too, that hustle and bustle and just keeping shit moving, right? And the energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your son wants to act. That's pretty awesome. Is he taking acting classes and stuff?
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, he does all kinds of things. Like he just got back from a film program that he did at New York Film Academy at Harvard for acting, and he's learning stuff all the time. It's
amazing.
Yeah.
Have you been the past couple of years you've been doing like different, mostly TV stuff too, right?
I haven't done anything for the last. I'm not interested in doing TV anymore.
Well, I thought I did like Pool Man, maybe. It's
I produced it. I produced it. Chris Pine directed a movie, and I produced it.
Yeah.
And that was great. He wrote a script that I absolutely loved, and I loved getting to produce for him directing. But that's it. I mean, I've been attached to different projects.
Yeah, Doug Ever After.
No.
That says you executive produced that in 2022. I guess maybe not. It's wrong.
Executive produced
Doug Ever After. Maybe not. T.
Yeah, so these are films that I have been like, yes, Doug Ever After.
It's weird. It's up in your.
I think,
it's up in your thing.
But I think it's somebody. I think it's somebody short. Is it say it's a short film?
Probably, yeah.
I think they may have changed the title because I think that's there are young filmmakers that I try to help along and so I think that one. Yeah, I think I know which one that is.
And then what's the deal with Birds? Is the newer one?
Birds is Taylor Buchan, my assistant, former assistant, who's now my associate producer, who does a great job, and it's her film. She did a great job.
Awesome. So at this very moment, 2025, are you kind of chilling? You writing? Like, what are you working on?
I'm working on something I'm not going to talk about because there's nothing to gain and everything to lose. But I'm working on something that I think is the best thing I've ever done, that I'm the most excited about I've almost ever been. That's not true. I'm always really excited about it.
Yeah. How long have you been working on it for?
About 8 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm very, very excited. And hopefully, that's going to be going
There's
forward.
a movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And so where you're at in your life now, you don't really have to do all like you can kind of chill a little bit in life right now. You have to like do all the grinding and hustling and.
No, and that was an interesting thing too, the downside was not making money for so long.
Yeah.
To finally make a little pad of money and be like, oh my God, I've been clawing my way to survive for so long.
Yeah.
And to actually stop and be like, oh, who am I now? Now that it's not about desperation and need, and it's been an incredible time of like, the pandemic was so weird, but even afterwards, just kind of reflecting on, make me want to do it. I have an opportunity to actually do it only because I want to do it, and I'm not going to not pay the rent as a result. And so it's been really cool. It's been a really cool time. And also, looking at I keep viewing it as like, what do you want to do with the second half of your life? This was, and also raising a child, it's like those years of like, you're just, and so
trying to balance all that too.
Taking a little pause and being like, okay, cool. And so now I'm super excited about this next film, but really it's about wanting to do That's why I'm not wanting to do TV so much anymore. I don't want to be so overly busy. And so I just want to really put myself into the great movies I want to make.
Yeah, you worked hard to get where you're at, so you grinded, man. You hustled for a long time, you know?
Yeah.
Would you ever write a book about? Would you ever do a book?
I would never write I'm dying to write a book, but I don't think I would
Not
write
about your life.
I don't think so, other than the fact that I'm obsessed with Proust. And I just finished In Search of Lost Time, his 7-book masterpiece, and I'm like obsessed with him.
Okay.
And that's the greatest piece of artwork I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
Because he actually turned his entire life into a piece of art. And it's so profound. So Proust has me thinking an awful lot about wanting to write a book, but I don't think I would want it to be about me, particularly not because of the clickbaity Hollywood stuff. Like I have no desire to ever tell tales about other people or spill, tea about my version of every event other than the superficial, other than talking about it like this. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty, but still the way he wrote that book has got me thinking about writing.
Yeah. Is the movie world, is it still very hard for women to direct and be in the mix now? Is it still kind of feel that kind of?
The industry is in such a weird, probably not, but it's in such a weird place right now. Yeah. It's really hard to tell what's up and what's down. It's like the industry is suffering and lost and very
because of streaming.
Because they made a big mistake with streaming, which was so obviously frustrating. I wish every studio hadn't walked off a cliff after streaming, only to realize, like, if everybody has a service, then you're not going to be making the money Netflix is making,
Yeah, so many services now. Since the pandemic got crazy.
Yeah, and then the theaters closing.
Yes.
But then, like, what's worth money and what kind of stories to be tell? There's a million layers of why the industry is reassessing how to succeed.
Yeah.
And so, but the women thing, listen, it's a boring topic to talk. I'm so tired of But no, has it changed? Not that radically. It hasn't changed, but it's definitely more opportunity than there used to be. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The streaming, and then what about AI stuff?
AI is going to be
a real threat?
wild.
It's a real threat.
It's a real threat to some people. I don't think it's a real threat to everybody. Who knows? But I think I definitely think that a lot of the tradespeople are in danger because AI can do the job for a lot of people.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's real, like visual effects, but even shooting. Like a lot of the shooting, like if you could do photo real things with AI with input of photographs, it's a changing world,
Yeah.
Do I think it's going to replace human actors and human voices? No, because it's like uncanny valley. I don't know what it would take. We don't understand ourselves enough to even know how to program something to have our biological triggers and all the biological, and not to mention DNA imprinting that's been going on through generations. We wouldn't even know where to begin to program AI to mimic us deeply enough to replace us in that regard. It can replace us physically and it can annihilate us, but it's not going to understand. Listen, our attraction to art is hand in hand with procreation, right? So we're interested in other people because of procreation.
Yes.
So when that's taken out of the mix, are we as interested in another?
Good point.
Are men interested in men watching sports and women are interested in each other? It's all about procreation and comparing each other to each other, not machines. And so that I think people keep getting carried away with, where they're like, oh, it'll take over story. I'm like, the second you tell me that dude on screen is not real, I'm not, like, there's going to be some, characters and great stories that you do, but the truth is you're never going to stop us from being interested in each other. We're animals.
Nah, it's really true.
You can't even trick a parrot into being interested in an AI parrot. You think you're going to trick us?
Yeah.
Animals are interested in each other.
It's a great point, actually. The only thing about AI, I mean, the ChatGPT stuff like that, you use that too?
I'd use it a lot.
Me too, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could be off, though. I've been noticing. I match it with my Google stuff, too. It's just...
Do you know what I couldn't believe? I asked it a question the other day, and I think we're all noticing this. Like, first of all, when you search something on Google and the first blurb is off a lot.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And so then you start to question everything. But I asked it a question about like, I was trying to remember the name of who this famous fighter pilot was that in the Korean War who was dating a movie star.
Okay.
And so it tells me a name and they're like, oh yeah, he married a movie star. And I was like, no, I'm not him. I'm talking about somebody. And then I realized I'm talking about Robin Olds, who's a famous guy. And then they're like, oh no, you're right. That other guy didn't marry a movie star at all. Robin Olds did. And I'm like, well, dude.
That's what I'm saying, man. It doesn't know
like
everything.
It gives you a hardcore fact. And then only when you tell it's not a fact, you're like, correct. That's not a fact at all. And then you're like, wow, I got to be careful.
Especially the ChatGPT. I've been noticing that too lately too.
Yeah.
Damn. Is there like a dream person you'd like to work with? Whether it be another producer or actor or somebody.
There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot. I think
a dream project or I don't know.
So there's a couple dream. So the movie I'm making now is one of my dreams. Okay. I want to do a great love story is another one. I have wanted to do a great fighter pilot story.
Not like a rom-com, like just like a real
no, like
romance.
An old school, like the adult massive.
Those are lacking.
Right? There's a hole.
There's none of those.
It's a hole. Like nobody is doing it. Like a dead serious adult love story.
What was the last one, I wonder?
There used to be in the 50s and the 60s. You know what I feel like it is? It's when it's been too long without a war. We get all weird and meta and superficial. Whereas like you need like, let's make grand the history of story, thousands of years.
Was it Notebook?
It might have been. It might have been. You know what's interesting? My son's generation, they're all obsessed with romance stories.
I love that. It's amazing. It's a good
all of
sign.
them.
Yeah.
All of them. But it shows you. It's like, yeah.
Wow.
But they're obsessed with The Notebook, Serendipity, like all these older movies because we're just not been filling that void. And so anyway, I've always wanted to do a massive love story.
That'd be great.
I always wanted to do a great fighter pilot story, but I don't know. I come and go on that.
Yeah.
Because the fighting and violence of it all, as I get older, the less I am sort of craving. But I still may come back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm trying to think of romance one. That'd be so amazing.
Yeah,
man.
Great love story.
When Harry Met Sally, was that a love one?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, you could call it a rom-com, but it's a great film. It's a great film.
Everything is a rom-com now, though, whatever that means.
Yeah. No, and they're coming back. So rom-coms are coming back. Lower budget rom-coms are like starting to pop up more and more with youth culture, but I feel like the big grand love story is still a hole.
What about like a documentary about something that you love?
I'm doing a documentary about Duran Duran right now.
What?
Yeah.
There's never been a Duran Duran doc, has there?
Nope.
Wow.
Okay, so
that's incredible.
To go all the way.
And you love them?
Okay, so here's my Duran Duran story, right? So when I was in elementary school, I had always been obsessed with punk rock, and we were in England when I was in 5th grade, I think, and whatever, maybe it was 4th, I don't know, whatever year it was their first single, Planet Earth, came out. And I remember standing on Piccadilly Square and watching the Red Mohawks and things. I was always like, that's the shit, man. Punk rock is the shit. So when I was a little kid, I was like, that's the shit. And then Duran Duran releases their first single. So they were like my band. You know how you're like covetous of you're like, this is my fund. Nobody knows about the band. I'm So, but it's getting radio play. And I was like, I'm super into this band. And so, Planet Earth and I was like, that's my thing. So then when I come back to the States and they start to hit when I'm in junior high before I become a punk rocker, I'm like real into Duran Duran. But then they start to blow up amongst girls and they start being seen as this boy bandy sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so I was always both one of the girls. I was like, yeah, I'm obsessed with Duran Duran. But also, guys, their music is amazing. Like, why are they being, and their music is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's fucking amazing. So then I was a huge Duran Duran fan. So then I get into the punk scene and, I go into other things, but I've always stayed admiring Duran Duran and kind of watching what they were doing. So then when I come here to go to AFI, I go to Crunch and I do a Taibo class at Crunch, right? Taibo, back in the day, man. And so I'm doing this Taibo class and my instructor I become friends with because I go so regularly, and he's like, I need you to do an exercise video. And this is right before Monsters. This is what I'm saying. I was like, I'll direct anything, but I was like, I don't want to do an exercise video. He's like, please do an exercise video. And so so then I was like, fine, I'll do the exercise video. And he's like, I gotta it's gonna do the music. And I was like, well, wait a minute. If I'm directing it, let me choose who's going to do the music. And he's like, no, he was in Duran Duran. And I was like, what?
What the
It was
fuck?
John Taylor from
What?
Duran Duran.
No way.
He trained. And so John was going to do the music.
No way.
So I was gonna fucking die.
Holy shit.
Me, John, I play it cool. I was like, I can't even handle this. So John and I did an exercise video together in 1998.
Can we find this anywhere?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have it. It's not in the public, but I just digitized it
my
and sent it to John.
fucking God.
So anyway, John and I
You
have.
both exercise? Oh, he's exercising?
He was training with the same guy.
So he's in the video?
No.
Okay.
But by the way, the Sweet Valley High twins, Brittany and the Daniels sisters, Cynthia and Brittany Daniels, are in it. So it was like the weirdest. Like,
what the hell?
they're in it. John's doing the music. I directed it. It's such a hilarious
incredible.
exercise video, right?
Okay.
It's a very good exercise video, by the way. I just rewatched it and I was like, that's pretty good. But but anyway, so we did that. So then John and I became friends,
Dude.
and he brought Nick and maybe Simon to the premiere of Monster. So then I make Monster.
No
So then he
way,
brings them, and so then John and I stay friends and stay in touch. And he's kind of like, it's been incredible that that both John Taylor and Steve Perry have kind of been some of my greatest mentors in the arts of being an artist.
Steve Perry?
Yeah. That's all. I'll tell you the Steve Perry story. Steve is one of my best friends. I mean, that's,
you talking about Journey?
yeah. Because
dude.
let me tell you that one next. Because Steve and I are like real, like very old friends at this point. But so John and I have been a little more, we weren't that tight, but it's like John and I have stayed in touch and eaten lunch together. And he's always dropped the fucking knowledge on me. And like, we go to art museums together, and he's so knowledgeable about painting. By the way, these guys are really sophisticated, incredible artists.
Yeah, for sure.
And then when
100%.
so then John, I finally wanted to go see them on tour 2 years ago. I'd never seen them. I'd never gone.
What? Your whole life?
My whole life, because I got into the punk scene. So I had bought tickets to their tour in '84, and I got the flu, and I didn't go. And then I was a punk rocker, so we just didn't go to those kinds of shows anymore.
This is crazy.
So I realized I could only go to the concert 2 years ago in D.C. when I was passing through.
Yeah.
And so I was like, John, I'm going to go in D.C. And he goes, come early and we'll go to the Smithsonian. And so John and I went to the Smithsonian, hang out. Here's my friend. He's so knowledgeable. And then I go to the concert, and I'm assuming like, okay, well, they're going to be, it's probably going to be like, I don't know how big the concert's going to be, whatever. Dude, they sold out a fucking stadium.
Huge still.
They are the best they've ever been. It was an ecstatic experience for me, literally. Like, I was like, I know every word, every song, super emotional. I took Linda Carter with me, by the way, which was hilarious.
Wait a second.
Because the same fan base of Duran Duran is also obsessed with Linda.
Hang on a
so
second.
it's like,
is Linda Carter from Exorcist?
No, Linda Carter was the original Wonder Woman. Is one of my good friends.
Okay,
so she lives in D.C. So Linda came with me, but it was like,
that's right. Sorry.
The whole thing was so. But anyway, so
sorry.
Seeing it, I was like, my God, this fucking band is on fire. So genuinely, as an artist, I was like, how have they done it, right? So I ended up texting and talking with John.
Like 60s, right?
And being like, you guys are honestly I'm not just saying this because we're friends. You're like on top of your game. Like, you're on the top of the game. Killing it, right? And so then we've talked about it before, but been afraid. Right at the moment that I was like, I'm taking time off, make me want to do it. Like, what do you really want to do? John called and was like, would you consider? And I was like, yeah.
Dude.
That sounds so fun. So I've been writing my script and not able to fully focus on it, but I'm planning on doing the next movie I'm doing and the Duran Duran doc at the same time.
Oh my God.
Which I'm so excited to do.
I'm surprised there hasn't been a Duran Duran doc. What the hell? Oh yeah, that's right. They're like in their 60s, right?
Yeah.
And they're from England?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh my God. And they're still killing. Yeah, they play like massive places still.
It was the best concert.
And you waited your whole life to see that.
Yeah, but I was not prepared for how astounding they were in concert. And by the way, then I went to see them again at Cruel World.
Oh yeah, I went to that. I was there.
Oh, were you there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad. I didn't see you.
Yeah.
I was with Moby, or I actually tried to see Moby. It's funny. I see Moby wrote the foreword there.
That's my dude. Yeah,
so Moby,
I
was trying to get, we were separated the whole time, but I was there with Steve Bellamy. Do you know Steve Bellamy, who's friends?
Hang on a second. You know Steve Bellamy, my friend?
Yeah, so
who used to own Nick's on Beverly when my son worked.
Of course you do. Why would I not?
I see him all the time.
So Bellamy, because he used to be the head of Kodak. So he's a good friend. So Bellamy, Bellamy went with me, and that's why we were trying to meet with Moby.
You were going to those Hawaiian trips?
Yeah. I didn't go to Hawaii. No, I went to Necker Island. I went to Pickleball Necker Island with.
This is such a small world, dude.
I know.
Oh, yeah, because his kids are like pickleball players.
Amazing.
Or something. He's trying to talk to me.
Yeah,
about,
Roscoe's like a star.
This all looks great. I saw him the other day at my friend's house thing.
Yeah.
You know Tiffany Lonsdale?
Yeah, oh yeah. We all went to Necker Island together to play pickleball, and
great
Tiffany's so great.
That's
I would love to cast her. She's the greatest.
We
all got to go hang out.
This is so fucking okay. So Bill Bellamy. Oh yeah. So
okay.
Cool World.
So Steve Bellamy, it comes with me. Steve's with us. Anyway, we're a group. But even Steve, who's not a Duran Duran fan, when Duran Duran comes on, Steve's like, my God! Like all my friends who were not Duran Duran fans were like, whoa!
Plus, everybody knows their songs.
And then you're also like, how many hits are there? There's
so many hits.
The entire set is hits. You're like, this is not an 80s band. This is an incredible band.
You know Moby from New York?
I know Moby from Steve.
Okay, yeah.
But by the way, Moby and I went down the rabbit hole. And oh my God, were we at the same place at the same time?
Oh,
yeah. So many people like that. Like Shepard, Ferry, all of us.
Yeah.
Shepard I was aware of because when I was at Cooper, one of my good friends at Cooper's brother was at RISD, and so they started bringing these little paper stickers of Andre the Giant and saying tag these up all over the place. So it was me and my friends were people putting up. I had them all over all of my stuff. So when Shepard blew up, I was like, wait, that's that guy. Like when he started to blow up. So he's a friend.
Obama thing, he did all that shit.
He's a friend now, but I didn't. For years, it was only peripheral that I knew him.
You probably hang with the same people out here. It's such a crazy.
Yeah,
world.
We got to get it all together. No.
Dre DiMatteo?
I met her, but I don't really know her. No. So the Steve Perry story. That's because I made Monster, and he was a recluse at the time, like not going out much at all. Had left the band, and when I put Don't Stop Believing into the roller skating scene, everybody said, you'll never get this song. And just like Charlize, I was like, man, I'm just got to go for it. So Charlize and I wrote him a letter. Yeah. He had been out in nowhere, and we send him a letter and the parts of the movie. And he literally calls me on the phone the next day and is like, hey man, what's up? I love your movie. Where are you? And I'm like, is this Steve Perry? And he's like, yeah, man, where are you? And I'm like, I'm at a mixing stage. He's like, on Colfax? I'm coming over. And I was like, wait, what?
No way.
And he lived in an apartment across the street.
Come on, man.
And came over and pulled up a chair behind me. And he's like, you can have the song for almost nothing. He goes, this is what the song's about. Nobody ever knows that. He's like, everybody wants to use the song. They're not. He's like, it's about homeless people. He's like, I was in my window looking down. He's like, yeah. I was trying to finish the movie by myself at that point. Steve pulled up a chair, stayed by my side for 6 months. He is a genius. And he helped, I'm like trying.
During the movie, during Making Monster? What?
He ended up on the mixing stage. He ended up hiring musicians, helping to finish the score. So he became like my knight in shining armor of helping me stand strong. He would pull me aside and be like, you're the singer of a band right now. You got to stand strong. Don't let him talk you down. You got to blah, 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 blah. And so then he's just gone on to be a great, great dear friend.
That is incredible.
Ever since, drops the knowledge. Thank God, by the way, you talk about was it weird after Monster? Thank God for Steve. Because Steve was like, okay, just don't tune this out. Just don't, hey, you want to talk about the weather? And so it was like somebody who you could just have a normal conversation with, but he's just been a blessing in my life, Steve.
Listen to your life. That's the most randomest, craziest thing, though.
Yeah.
Steve Perry, and you take Wonder Woman to go see Duran Duran.
I know. By the way, the pictures from backstage, I took pictures of Linda, my best friend, John, the band. I was just like, what is going on? It's just if you could have shown. By the way, I was a huge Wonder Woman fan, so for me, I was like, what's happening?
You had to play it cool with Linda, right? Yeah.
No, Linda's a really good friend.
Okay.
Because she was the first phone call I made when I got Wonder Woman. I called Linda and I said, just so you know, I said, you're going to read that we're doing Wonder Woman again. And I want you to know, I'm not rebooting Wonder Woman. I'm not my Wonder Woman. All I want to do is take the torch that you lit and pass it forward. So please help me be true to it. So she's been an integral part of it and ended up being a really great friend and supporter and was with us at all the premieres. She's in the second movie at the very end. She's so Linda's become family. She was such a blessing to our journey of it.
It's crazy when you said the Steve Perry thing because I read the whole story about how he was really particular about using it for the last episode of Sopranos. He was really strict about it. He had to see it.
Yeah.
It was like the eve of like the Thursday before they dropped on the Sunday. He still hadn't responded yet. He had to see if somebody's get whacked during it and stuff.
Yeah.
So just signing off on that was really a big deal.
Yeah, he's got so much integrity, and also like he's the only one that still has the rights, and so he really has to protect it and takes it, you know. By the way, that's the other funny part of the story was him living in the apartment across the street, because I was like, you live in an apartment across the street?
Yeah.
He's just the most humble, not because he's broke. It's not. No. He's just the most humble dude in the world. Like, just really
it's crazy.
Pure.
Like you.
But that's what I'm saying.
Songs.
He's a pure artist.
Yeah.
He's a pure artist, and he's been an inspiration to me about like, okay, just keep your eyes on the prize of doing like what you think is beautiful and you believe in, and tune everything else out.
Yeah,
you know,
those are some great mentors, man. It's amazing, man.
Very
from
lucky.
different walks of life too, different things, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so you're working on your best thing you ever wrote right now. This Duran Duran documentary coming out. What was your last job where you had a boss, like a check in, like sign in a boss, 9 to 5 chick?
Well, I mean, waiting tables, you know, like dojos. I was a waitress at dojos
St. Margaret's
for 4 years.
I still love dojos,
or
man.
3 years.
You get the burger and the rice and the carrot ginger. For
I'm sure I
$4.
I probably, because you and I saw each other on the Lower East Side
all
the time.
For sure.
And I don't remember exactly when we first saw each other, but you probably came into dojos when because I was there all the time.
Too. Yeah, dojos was amazing.
I was there all the time. Yeah.
So that was kind of like your normal last kind of job before.
That was my last job, and then my internship at Epoch
Yeah.
Films. But then I've been freelance ever since, really, you know.
Yeah.
But by the way, doing the Wonder Woman movies was basically like having a corporate job. You know, like that was 8 years working. I worked for Warner Brothers, you know, and I had bosses and I had a responsibility, and you know, so basically that was really like my job. Was Wonder Woman was a real job.
Yeah. Wow, man. Are you sober?
No.
Okay. It's all about.
No.
Cool.
Yeah. It's funny. I've heard about your sobriety, and like it was like seeing negative, or I always knew about it. I knew that you were back then, but that you saw negative connotations with it and were like, that's just not for me.
Yeah, with my brothers.
I had the opposite. So my mom is like very serious and was like just trying to put herself through school and things. And my grandparents had cocktail hour every night at 5 o'clock. And so they were like, had a pool and they would have a cocktail hour. So I still joke to this day where I'm like, I know it's not good for you drinking alcohol, but I still have such a good connotation of like, hey, it's 5 o'clock, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so I try not to use it like that all the time, but I'm like, oh,
I think it's different for everybody.
I have a romantic notion of
I think it's different for everybody, right?
Yeah, totally.
What are some of your daily rituals?
I made a New Year's resolution 3 years ago, which has really accidentally changed my life. I used to read, and then having to read other people's scripts, and I'm a very picky reader, and I always like owed reading this or that. So it sort of took reading away from me. And then the phones and the internet and the news. Yeah. So I made a New Year's resolution 3 years ago because I was taking time off. I said, I'm not going online until midday, and I'm only going to read for the first few hours.
Love that.
It has blown my life in a totally different...
You've been doing it for 3 years?
For 3 years. This is why I fucking read Proust and I've read fucking Tolstoy. I've read...
Wow.
Because I'm just plowing through books. And it's because when you wake up and you don't go online at all, it changes the vibe of your whole day. Because the truth is, does anybody need their email returned? No. Do you need to know what's going on in the news at 6 a.m.? No. So I sit by the fire and I read a book, sometimes for 3 hours, depending on how early I get up. And then I meditate.
Nice.
And so now you're taking in this world. You're like in this world, right?
Yeah.
Not the... I feel like this... The tension of the outside world is just in our house all the time now.
Because it's on the phone, comes through that
everywhere.
Too. Yeah.
And so now I suddenly find myself like, ooh, real calm in my house, thinking about Proust or whatever I just read.
I love that.
And then I meditate, and then I take a shower and whatever. And by the way, then that gets real creative. So now like nothing else has come in and like all the good ideas start to come in. Now I've been writing, so the next thing I do is write. When I'm in production, that'll have to speed up and then I'll go do production. But the creativity that I get done in that morning routine now with nothing else having shown up yet,
I love that.
Is so wild.
I'm gonna try that, man.
You really should, because by the way, it's such a simple thing. Don't go online until after you shower and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But now sometimes, here's the other thing. Now you get into such a deep place that by the time you look at your phone, it's not that interesting.
Yeah.
Because when you were kind of waking up and reading the news to kill time, you'd kill time. Now I'm like, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's get to something else. So I'm on my phone so much less.
Nice.
And sometimes not at all. Like if I don't have a boss and I don't have to answer it, some days I barely look at it now.
Wow.
And it's not because I'm so disciplined. It's just literally doing other things that I'm interested in. Yeah, it's wild.
But for a while, were you addicted to it?
No, but I've never been super addicted to the phone, but I am the person that would wake up and scroll the news.
Yeah.
And the tension of it, particularly when I was doing the Wonder Woman movies, because my name could show up in there. Or some news about,
anxiety.
clickbait. Yeah. It's like the anxiety was real. That's why I originally quit, is because I was like, I don't want to hear what anybody is saying about
the movie.
Who's the next director, what's the next, like what's going on with DC or what's going on with, I just don't want to hear it. So it really started from this very simple place, but it extends to everything, And so it's been so great. It's such a small change and it really is life-changing.
Wow. So the first 3 hours.
First 2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, and the amount of books I've read is unbelievable. And it's so cool, just like I've gotten so much inspiration from artists, from musicians, now to be reading these great writers. And so I'm having a conversation with great artists, having nothing to do with my film career and nothing to do with adaptation. Like maybe I'll adapt something one day, but the truth is I couldn't figure out how to do Proust if I wanted to. It's so complicated.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm actually just learning from a master and reflecting on that person's life as an artist.
I love
and
it.
So cool. And it's kind of what I want to talk about a lot in the Duran Duran doc too, is like artist to artist having nothing to do with each other. There's so much to learn from each other.
Duran Duran thing's going to be amazing, man. I'm sure the fans are going to be so excited about it.
Yeah. This is going to be the accidental announcement of it because we haven't gone public with it yet. But yeah.
So it'll come out this year or no?
No, I'm not even started making it yet.
Okay,
we're just starting it. Yeah.
You're an optimist or pessimist?
I'm both. I'm actually I noticed from watching my mom's a pretty upbeat person.
Yeah.
Like she's pretty nihilistic about like the state of the world, but she manages to be like, this is delicious, And so I think I'm like that. Like mentally I'm a pessimist, but day to day I'm actually pretty upbeat and optimistic.
Mm-hmm. You have any regrets in your life?
Regrets?
Yeah.
Not really. I've thought about that before. Little ones.
Yeah.
Little ones like not directing the rest of the season of Arrested Development.
Oh yeah, you said that.
But not really. I mean, little things I would have done differently, but the big strokes, no.
Could you have gone back to Arrested Development after you found out the movie wasn't happening at that
point? No, because it was always about to happen. It just never stopped. That's the film industry.
But you haven't gave up on that one movie, the second one you really mentioned.
No, one day I would still love to make it.
You still think about it though?
Yeah, and it's also just, I think that the good news is that a lot of people started carrying that torch of criminal justice reform. Mm-hmm. And it's not the only reason I was making it, but luckily that other people started carrying that, mantle better than I could have even necessarily. So it feels slightly less pressing than it did, but it's still pressing,
But you don't let it dwell upon it and fuck your mind about thinking about it all the time.
I really believe everything happens for a reason, which is such. I believe that this is all always something to learn, and so even failures, even things, I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. Like, you couldn't, if you just always had everything work out, it's death. Death is the mother of beauty.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you need to churn the positive and the negative to develop to express love and beauty.
Did you ever want to quit? Like
all the time.
Yeah.
I give myself
something totally different.
I give myself the opportunity all the time. There were real periods in New York where I was like, maybe I should just restore antiques. Like you don't need to go do this. always I give myself the opportunity. I'm surprised myself. Like even when I moved here to go to AFI, I was like, I felt like I was outside of myself. Like, Jesus, you're really serious about this. Like my life was pretty good in New York. And so I was surprised to see myself make that move. I'm just as surprised now when I am making a movie again, even though I don't have to, and coming up with new ideas at the same time and that I'm so excited to do afterwards. I'm like, I guess I really love what I do, you know? Like I know that, but I compulsively have a new idea that I want to do.
Yeah. I love like how desperate you were and you really wanted just to do it with Monster and how it just changed your life. Just that moment, that timing with her, just everything. It's such a beautiful moment in your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was. And it was a beautiful way to start my career because it was such a profound life experience for me and a profound life experience with another person, with Charlize and with Eileen, you know? And so it set the bar high of what art can be in your life. And so, it excites me to keep doing things I mean that much.
But I feel like the new thing you're working on is just exciting.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah.
It's really, really a serious relationship.
And it's a movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do some fun shit. What about your top favorite either punk bands or hardcore bands, New York hardcore bands?
Okay, definitely Bad Brains is my number one.
Yeah.
My second would be a band that never blew up that huge, and I don't know why, Social Unrest. They were...
I know that name, yeah.
So good.
You're the first person ever to mention this podcast. That's amazing.
Social Unrest, because by the way, I went back...
Were they a band before a band? Were they turned into something else?
No, they're from up North California. They're fucking incredible. And it's funny because recently, or like 5 or 10 years ago, I pulled their record out again and I was like, is it as good as I thought it was? It is so good. Musically.
Damn.
You know, there were a lot of bands that were, they had a message, but musically you're like, it's not that good. You know, like there was a lot of that. But then there were bands like Social Unrest, which I wore that record out.
Damn.
7 Seconds, loved. The Descendants, loved.
Yes. 7 Seconds. I saw them the other night. Still killing it, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. I loved I loved the Cro-Mags. I thought they did some great stuff. I mean, God, it goes
Agnostic
on and
Front.
on. I liked Agnostic Front. It was a little
metal for you?
It was a little, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it was a little male leaning.
Oh, okay.
Like it's not that they all aren't, you know what I mean? But there was something that's like guy music straight to guys in this very specific way. And I like it. I appreciate it. But it wasn't but it wasn't speaking quite to me as much.
Warzone?
I liked Warzone.
Yeah, Warzone.
Yeah.
Youth of Today?
I liked Youth of Today more. They were fun. And then there were a bunch of like a bunch of the Cali bands I super liked that were a lot of fun, and I liked DRI, and I liked,
Suicidal?
I liked Suicidal Tendencies a lot. Nip Drivers, they were from Canada, and they were early 80s, like they were super good. Then I liked like the Replacements, not quite hardcore, but
too,
Husker Du.
Oh yeah, you liked all kinds of stuff.
I really did.
Very diverse palette.
But see, that's what it is. I even remember like somebody there was something about only liking hardcore music, and I was like, I always liked everything.
Me too.
Like I liked everything, just like liking
Madonna,
Duran Duran or liking a bunch of new wave.
Yeah.
I got real into electronica early on.
Nice.
Like when I felt like hardcore dovetailed into rap in such an interesting way.
It did. Especially in New York.
And especially the Beastie Boys and all that scene, and then KRS-One and like all that stuff. But then to me it branched to electronica. So EDM and all that stuff I got real into.
Really?
Yeah, I would stand at Virgin Records and just listen to electronica and like everything that was happening.
You going to clubs and stuff, dancing to it?
No, not really. Not really. Every once in a while. But I was like, I mostly just sat and listened to all the music and collected it.
All that stuff? Wow.
Yeah, but some of those early bands like BT, who ended up doing my score to Monster, the early electronica artists were real musicians making some pretty incredible stuff. Lots of cool stuff.
Yeah.
But other hardcore bands. I mean, there's so many I'm going to regret not saying.
Sick of It All?
I like Sick of It All, but they were also such peers. Like I felt I knew that. Like it's hard when you hang out with people all the time. And that's kind of true about the Cro-Mags too. It's like
they boys.
it's hard to see them from the outside
as musicians. Yeah.
And they were also not after my time, but they were like right at right coming off of.
But Token Entry you liked.
Token Entry I thought were really great.
Yeah.
And
were you like in the crowd, like diving and stuff like that?
No.
Okay.
I was watching, but I wasn't that girl.
Or participating in the crowd.
I was there hanging back looking for who the cute guy was that I was going to target and try to go out with or meet or whatever. God. I was like boy crazy.
Okay, in New York.
No, more in Kansas, and I got pretty serious once I got to New York about making it into the film industry.
Boy crazy in Kansas, yeah.
Boy crazy. I've read my diary every page. I was like, oh my God, this
guy
from Topeka. Yeah.
You still read diaries? Oh my God.
Every page I like a new guy.
You like punk rock boys?
Punk rock boys.
Skaters?
All kinds.
Damn.
All kinds. Mostly pretty clean, like mostly maybe because of my dad. I ended up with pretty clean cut, like non-racist skinheady types. Yeah, that was my
straight edge boys or no?
No,
not really. Yeah,
I don't. I mean, by the way, yes, the first like guy that I was, there was a band called Troubled Youth in Topeka, who were great, and the drummer I had a thing with off and on for years, and he was like the most clean cut Troy Cunningham, the most clean cut.
Shout out to Troy Cunningham
because he was a dancer. He was like a professional athlete, and so he was like the clean cut, clean guy, and he was like who I had a thing for.
Sounds like a name for a movie, Troy Cunningham.
Yeah,
sounds like a character.
I tried to see him last time I was in Kansas, and I never even got around to reaching out to him. But anyway, yeah, shout out to him.
No tattoos for you?
No, I didn't get any, but I've always loved them.
No, I love that.
It's so
I made it through.
I have no idea why.
I think it's cool, though.
You know why I think? Because I have such a transitory life. I was never one thing. I was never sure about committing to any one life. You know?
I love that, yeah.
Which is strange because I could have gotten a tattoo for my dad or whatever. I don't know. I just didn't for whatever reason.
I think it's cool you made it out there unscathed with that stuff. Yeah. Do you still listen to punk rock like these days?
Not that often. I do have a record player, and so every once in a while, like the Social Unrest, I get it out, and I'm like, God damn, that's a good album. Yeah.
And you went to the show. I saw you at the show. That was cool.
That was great. Yeah, and I loved seeing Jimmy. Jimmy and I didn't see each other for the longest time, and then it was so cathartic to see each other because literally we kind of fell out of touch. We dated. Then I went off dating, and then we sort of fell out of touch. And so then it was like so many years. I mean, we both like burst into tears when we finally saw each other again for the first time.
Human, man.
He's so great. I love him so much. And by the way, I also didn't realize when I was in New York, I never realized what a legend he was. Like I didn't know the Geraldo Rivera or whatever. Like I didn't, which show, the Donahue or whatever show that was. Now I've seen it and I'm like, wait, it's Jimmy and his girlfriend? That whole story's about? I'd never seen it. There was no way to see it when we were in New York.
Well, also, you were in it.
Yeah, I was in it, but that was not at that point. That was before I got there. But I was like, I didn't realize Jimmy at that point would just kind of swoop in and swoop out on Avenue A.
Yeah, but how are you just saying like sick of it all like your peers? So like these people were your friends, right? And they made this creative, amazing music that changed my life and so many people's lives and still do. But they were just your homies, and so but now you step out and look at and how they're still here and their legacy and their legends, how they've really inspired the whole fucking planet with the hardcore from New York. It's crazy.
I know.
And their characters are like straight up movie characters.
I know.
Still playing. He's going to turn 70 this year.
EK and I have been in touch, and he's doing so great. And I love seeing EK too, and so.
I'm just saying, you look back at it now, it's like all the shit they created it's so important still.
I know. It really is.
It's pretty wild because it's just like your friends making this fucking wild music.
I know.
That you thought nobody else is really going to hear was something maybe it was just ours or your friends, right?
Yeah.
It's like something.
I feel like that whole period of music, that's what I'm saying. I was like walking around in it, and then when I went on to work in rap videos,
we're involved in it.
There's it's interesting to watch the making of myth is of course just real life when you're in it. You're just around it and it's real life. And only with retrospect, just as I can appreciate now how damaged so many people were with a new eye, I can also appreciate how talented so many people were with a new eye of like, wow, this was really incredible stuff going on, and people and dynamos,
and the stuff that like the songs at Age of Quarrel are still relevant in 2025.
Oh, yeah.
The songs that these young kids wrote and we're singing about are still relevant now, which is crazy.
I want to say something radical, but it's not that radical. I think we were really ahead of our curve.
100%.
Like so much of what we were doing, like even by the way,
I agree.
A big topic in my career has been me being a female director.
Yes.
And people are always like, how did you have the confidence? Turns out I was the only female camera person. I wasn't even noticing that. But everybody's like, how did you have the confidence to do it? I was like, I was oblivious. I was in a fucking utopia where that shit was over. There were trans people, there were gay people, there were black people. It was total equality.
Yes.
It was like it was so progressive and ahead, that world that we were in, even the political things that we were talking about and discussing and thinking
even
about
fighting
is
racism,
very
right?
now.
Yeah.
It's very now.
Facts.
But what a beautiful incubator to come from,
Yeah.
where I was like, it was like and by the way, even the crossover from the hardcore scene to the rap community,
Yes.
like was so enmeshed and
Really
so
was.
cool and not, I remember hanging out with KRS-One for some reason at some point and him like dropping science, but it was like hardcore. It was like, I feel like it was
Crazy.
such a great and hopeful period of time, but everything we were concerned with, it amazes me now that the mainstream looks like we did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, we were so ahead.
I mean, do you know how big hardcore is now? You might not know, but it's bigger than ever was, you know?
Yeah,
And there's
I
so
don't
many-
know that,
so
but I
many
could kind of
bands.
tell when I went to the shows where, wow, that it's still going, that
It's
there's still
huge.
these huge things. It's so cool.
There's a lot of female-fronted bands. There's so many young bands, especially in California. It's massive. Like thousands of people go to these shows.
My son just went to one.
What show? You remember?
I don't know, but it was 2 days ago. He went to a show and he was like, it was great. It was downtown. It was all these bands and it was a mosh pit. But
I might have been there. I might have been at.
Really?
I don't know what it was. Yeah.
I've got to get him to come with me next time, because I tried to get him to come to not the Agnostic Front one, but the one.
Gorilla Biscuits are playing in a couple weeks too.
Oh,
I'll let
really?
you know,
Tell
yeah.
me, because I want to bring him and go.
That's what I'm saying. Like he probably heard of Turnstile. I bet they're like a really huge hardcore band now. That's
I've heard it.
they're
Yeah,
not, they're
heard
not
of it.
mainstream.
Yeah.
They're getting lots of play. They're playing on TV, but they're playing big shows, small shows. But like, it's so big, and it's just crazy thinking about these people that we know that are such characters and legends and psychos, but we love them, and they contributed and created something so fucking beautiful that's inspired so many bands right now in 2025. It's fucking wild.
I know,
man.
it's wild.
I love it. It's I'm so proud to be part of those scenes. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
me too.
And-
Me
and-
too.
And I carry that with me in my life.
And I think it's such a special for me, who's not. Nobody even knows that about me, really. Like
that.
Yeah, it's interesting that that it's like this secret tribe
It is.
that was such a deep and heavy part of my life. I mean, it was my whole world
Yeah.
for from junior high through college. And so like all the people, all of the, I have to show you, I'm going to send you a video that's going to blow your mind, Toby.
Okay, I want to see
So
it.
when I was at Cooper, I just sent this to so many people. When I was at Cooper, I decided to take my camera and just walk up and down Avenue A for like a week.
Wow.
And it is literally
What
just,
year?
it's got to be 92.
Okay, yeah.
But it's like there's John on his bike and he just lost somebody on the thing. And then EK's there going, what that boy? And like I
Wow.
ran into everybody. And
That's how it
then
was
I
back then.
go
Everybody
over
was
to the
hanging.
Alcatraz and Big Frank's working. And
Wawa
but it's
Hut.
just hours and hours and hours. Yeah,
I'd love to see
Wawa
it.
Hut.
Yeah, that was everybody's always hanging back then. There was summer, everybody's hanging outside.
Yeah. Oh, it's such. I'm going to send it to you. I sent it to EK and he was flipping out. You remember Justin Tentler?
Maybe.
He had long hair. He sold stuff
Okay.
back then.
Also, I think that,
He had a
people-
dog named Blue, a pit bull named Blue.
They did.
Yeah.
That people are like, what's it like being a woman directed by, blah. But also it's like, what's it like being a woman in the fucking hardcore scene in fucking the 80s and CBGBs? Like, that's where you really found yourself and became who you are, right? And
Yeah.
was like, and felt secure who you are. You had all these great friends around you. You could be an individual. That's what the punk rock in you.
But also it felt, even though of course it had sexism and it's, like
course.
there weren't many girl bands and blah, blah,
No.
blah. But I felt, by the way, like I was loud and rowdy and whatever, and not at all was that ever an issue. Like, I don't know. There were lots of real bold girls,
For sure.
real strong.
Alexa, rest in peace.
Even when we're talking about, Lefty and
Yeah.
Amy, were like there were lots of that. So it was like, I felt like that was also the great thing of coming out of like getting a glimpse of what the popularity and the restrictive world would be in 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting into the hardcore scene where it was like, we did whatever we want. Our boyfriends were all cool and down with it. I was genuinely friends with so many guys like Blue, like my great friends that wasn't, I didn't ever feel like I wasn't their absolute peer and we weren't having a time. So that was a great thing about the scene too, which probably wasn't normal in everywhere else.
Yeah. But also this thing for you, like you kind of stayed in your lane and did what you did and had all your achievements and your success. And you weren't thinking like, I'm a woman, so I have to prove myself as a woman in this industry. Like, no, I want to be a fucking director. I'm going to do everything it takes to get there. And this is what I'm doing. And you did it.
Yeah.
You know
and I
awesome.
genuinely didn't occur to me that it would be a thing until after I succeeded.
Yeah.
Which was wild. Like when people were like, you're a woman director. I'm like, I'm a what? Talk about the hardcore scene. Like nobody was ever like, oh, you're a woman punk rocker. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So for me, it was a big surprise that I was like, oh, so what? Like, yeah, I'm a woman, but I've just been peers with guys plenty. So relax.
Yeah. So when you have the success, they're like, what's it feel like? I don't know. I'm just
doing my thing. Like lots of people are doing their thing and I'm doing my thing. Like he's making a film. I'm making a film. What's the difference? You know, that's what it felt like.
Fucking amazing. It's amazing just to hear your story and like from then till now to here. And just, I'm happy that you're still in California right now. You might not be. Who knows what happens, but.
Yeah. I'm trying to get back east and I'm excited to do it. And it's been fun. I feel like I've also reconnected with a lot of the hardcore people in the last, just having the time to do it. Well, having my having my success and it kind of both pulled me away and made those people aware that I was still alive, you know? It's like, so we're like getting in touch with each other and being like, oh my God.
They're probably so excited just all your friends from back then following your whole journey and stuff, you know?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It's
pretty wild.
It was certainly I have been theirs too. So it's cool. Like, all you guys still performing and still going
crazy,
on.
Man.
It's great.
Are you happy where you're at in your life now? Everything's all good?
Super happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doing good work is never easy.
Yeah.
And that will never change. And that's like the bane of my existence is like, as soon as I start making a movie, it eats up my life.
Yeah.
Because nothing can make it great but my sheer dedication to trying to make it great. So my life's not high-fiving fun in the fact that it's hard to do great work, but every other way it's great.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here. Yeah, knock on some fucking wood.
Yeah.
We have to go to a show or do something soon too.
Let's do. And by the way, also, Bellamy comes in and emails us about Tiffany Lonsdale and like, let's all go have dinner all the time. Yeah. So we should all go out.
I know. I just went to her house opening thing. She had. He was there.
My husband was there.
He was?
Yeah.
I might have met him.
You might have. He's like a tall. Yeah, I'll show you a picture of him.
I met everybody that day.
Okay, so Sam,
really?
Yeah, that's so funny.
This is such a small world.
My husband was
there.
So I was out of town, and so I
was
couldn't go.
Max, yeah.
And then they sent me a picture of the two of them.
Dude, we have such a small world, man.
I know, that's so funny. It's amazing that we didn't see each other for so long.
How many years you been here again?
Since 98.
Damn, I'm here 2001. Yeah.
Long time, man.
I know. I don't miss the winter, but I do miss what you're talking about in New York, like just walking everywhere, getting a slice of pizza. But I'm really going to get a slice of pizza at 2 a.m. in my 50s. I don't know. Yeah, met him. Yeah.
That's so funny.
That's so crazy, dude.
And he's got tattoos.
He does, yeah.
And by the way, he's a very, like, he wasn't in the hardcore scene, but he's a very, like, easily, could have come right out of that scene.
Yeah.
Like,
he
very
likes the music
comfy.
too?
No, he doesn't really know the music at all, but.
Are you finding about new music through your son, obviously different music?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool, right?
Super cool.
Kids teach you something or show you something cool.
Yeah, we were in the car last night driving to a party and we were taking turns playing each other music and it's so
what was he playing,
wild.
And the hip-hop too, everything.
He was playing, he listens to everything, but I was playing him old electronica, like the Chemical Brothers and things.
That's sick.
And he was playing me the new DJs from Ibiza, which I don't know. And like, he likes house music. And I'm like, I associate house music with being really boring, like boringly, repetitive, but I could be wrong because I don't know where house music is now.
Yeah.
And so he was trying to play me new people and I was playing him,
That's so cool.
Orbital and
Orbital.
BT. Yeah.
My son played Warped Tour today. It was pretty interesting to see that. I mean, I played Lollapalooza today. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Wow, that's so cool.
He was out there on
his
own playing music with some people. And
that must feel so cool.
It does feel cool. I'm really, really proud. It's just weird because it's not with my band and with our family. So it's like he's out there as like a hired gun.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to do. He wants to be a drummer. He's an incredible drummer. So it's like.
Yeah, it's going to be weird when Ace is off acting with other people. like doing job. Like he
you
already
only have
is.
one too. Yeah, one kid. Yeah, one and done, man.
Yeah, I liked having one.
Yeah, me too. And I'm just like that whole empty nest syndrome thing. I'm kind of tripping on that. Like when they leave.
I can't imagine because I'm not handling it as well as I thought.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I thought I would do much better.
Well, just so you know, kids stay at home longer. My son's 22.
Yeah.
It's totally normal for kids to be in like 20, because nobody can afford to live by themselves.
I think that's a good idea.
You know what I mean?
I think, and by the way, I think it's so weird, the world where we all separate so quickly and so far from each other. I don't think it makes a lot more sense.
I don't like that. But if your kid goes to college, you're going to probably end up over there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I want to go there.
Know.
So it was great having one. I decided to only have one because I wanted to be mobile like that. Like the second I had him.
Same.
Really? Smart.
Because people think that your life ends when you have a child, but no, your kids adapt to your life. It doesn't.
With one.
Yeah, exactly.
So I looked at one and I was like, ooh, this is different than I thought. I don't know how to get back directing. Okay, I can get back directing with one.
Totally.
On my hip.
Yes.
With me. Not two. As soon as I get two, like it's going
nice
to be
to have a
easier
boy and
to
a girl
leave
and
them
all
home.
that. But I don't know.
Would have loved it, but it just to be mobile. And by the way, there were periods of time where my husband was doing a job, and I had Ace with me on my own making Wonder Woman 84.
That's crazy.
Literally standing on set and being like, "Okay, here's what we're gonna get. Ace, get down off of that right now. Okay, let's get over." It's like,
damn.
But it was great because I was able to be a hands-on parent.
Yeah.
So I loved having one, but I'm not getting. I'm having a hard time getting ready with him.
Yeah, but he's still young though.
Leaving.
He's still young.
I know, but
my son's 22 still. I hope my son.
I see the writing
like
on the wall.
I know. Did you see the new Superman?
Nope, not yet. Not yet.
One of my friends is in there, and I haven't talked to her in a while. She was on the pod a while ago, Maria Faria, and she's like a bad girl. She has like the cornrows in there. She's like a main role in there. I have to hit her up. Yeah, she's from Brazil.
I look forward to seeing it. I just, first of all, I just haven't gotten around to it, but also Superman is like so. It's so near and dear to my heart.
I know.
That I have to really get ready for it. But I look forward to it.
You're like the fans who are huge Wonder Woman fans who had to get ready to go see the one you made because you know what I'm saying? Like, think about that. Like,
totally.
You're worried about how it's going to be portrayed. It's going to be what you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
But also, I've just been writing, so I've just been
very busy
underground.
Well, I'm excited to see what you're working on when you come back, when you have something new,
I will.
When your new movie comes out, and when you have what else you work? Duran Duran documentary. Yes, it's fucking awesome.
I can't wait. I can't wait to do a music doc too.
Yeah.
Like how fun.
I'm surprised you haven't done a hardcore one, to be honest.
Well, I thought about, I actually, one of the movies I was writing before I did the prison movie was a hardcore movie.
Okay.
And it was called The Middle of Nowhere. And it literally was based on, like Lawrence, a Lawrence-like town, but I wasn't being literal to Lawrence. But it was about the scene coming into town, which I saw, and then it going real tragic by the end.
Yeah.
And like tons of friends of mine who died and all of those things.
Damn.
And I got too depressed working on it. I was like, I already lived this, man. So I maybe have it in me now with a little more distance. But when I really started getting into like the friends of mine who died or went to prison, I was like, oof. And by the way, so many died now.
Wow.
There was, I think it was catching, but in suicide, in the biggest legends of the Lawrence, Kansas scene, one after another.
Wow.
One would call me and tell me the other ones had died, and then he'd kill himself. And it's like, we've lost so many people. And so that has never stopped happening. And I think that really, anyway, we're not in this podcast on a down note.
Shout out to Jeff Fortier, though, from the Outhouse. By So, we're going to say about Duran, a hardcore movie doc. Yeah, maybe more uplifting, positive. I don't know, a hardcore doc. There's been so many docs about New York hardcore and all that stuff. You see The Godfathers?
No.
The Agnostic Front documentary?
No. No, I haven't yet.
Dude, it's called The Godfathers of Hardcore. It's incredible, beautiful, filmed. It's not just a documentary. It's a story of Vinny Stigma and Roger's relationship, and they're all up and down. It's so beautiful, dude.
Okay. I can't wait to see
It's a real film. You'll love it. It's like,
I
forgot the guy's name. Shoot.
I liked Vinny. I like Vinny.
He's turning 70 this year.
I knew Vinny, and Vinny knew me by look, but he probably doesn't even realize that he would probably recognize me, but I remember always saying hi to him. He's in the video on Avenue A.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He's living in the same building. He's lived in his whole life on Mott Street.
Wow.
Since he was a child. There's nobody in the building from his generation in that building except for him right now. This moment. And it's just such a beautiful thing with his pigeons and all. He's just he's a character. He's a movie character, man.
Wow,
yeah, I think you really appreciate the whole New York thing. And like, I'll send you a link to it. It's really, really beautiful.
Okay,
that was an incredible movie because it wasn't what you thought. It wasn't gonna be like hardcore. It's just like the life of both of them growing up, you know?
Yeah.
How Roger got to America, just all that stuff.
It would be hard for me to pick the band, like, or how you do it. Like you'd kind of want to do it on a whole scene, but that's why I sort of feel like, I mean, the Bad Brains is...
There's been some docs. You seen the HR doc?
No, I haven't, but I know, but it's like, but that, I mean, those guys, but just doing about the scene, I don't know, it's just so much. I feel like the story is so big and so long.
But it had such a positive impact on your life too, so I could see you do maybe someday, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like doing a movie still would be more truthful, you know, just like true. Suburbia was like summed it up.
Kind of
I hired Penelope Spheris, by by the way, because of that. When I did 5, that breast cancer thing for Lifetime, where we were all doing films I was doing it with Jennifer Aniston, Alicia Keys, and Demi Moore, and I pulled in Penelope because I was amazing. Like, Penelope is fucking OG, dude.
Suburbia was so good.
So good.
I liked Another State of Mind. You remember Another State of Mind too?
Suburbia was so good.
I
mean, that was so authentic.
Watch it again, though? Like,
I have.
It's so sad.
I watched it not that long ago.
It's fucking heavy, dude.
But it felt really real to what some of the scene was. Like, not all of the scene was that way, but certainly my group of friends seemed to go down a bad road.
TR.
Yeah, TR.
The Rejected. Such a good movie. It's so like,
and that little kid with the mohawk. So cute.
Can I have ice cream? And then Flea was in there.
Oh, yeah.
And then the guy just died recently. My wife told him, the guy with the peg leg, he just recently passed from the movie, like the fake leg in there.
Yeah.
And then what's his face went on to do Platoon, like Jack. He was in Platoon.
Yeah, with a white-haired guy. Was he in DI? Was he the singer of DI? I'm trying to remember.
Not the actor, but DI's in that movie. But the actor is actually actor in Platoon after that.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that's right.
His name.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to try to find those guys, and I don't know.
That was such a great movie.
I just had you 3 on my podcast. We broke down the whole entire...
I felt like that and Repo Man. We just went back.
Repo Man was
those
sick.
were like the 2 punk rock movies, and I don't know why Repo Man necessarily was, because it really wasn't.
Yeah, how about Decline of the Western Civilization?
That was great. Yeah.
I didn't really get Repo Man. It was too weird for me. I don't know if I got it back
I don't know.
then.
We watched it all the time. It was like a punk rock movie.
It was a punk movie.
But it wasn't really.
But Suburbia was the
Suburbia was the real deal. Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, that was such a great.
Fuck.
So great.
I think someday you might write about the scene, or maybe do. I don't know. Maybe you won't, but I don't know. It's just hearing your stories. It was just such a big part of like molding you into the person you are today. I think. You know, going.
Yeah.
Hanging out with everybody.
Yeah.
The big bros.
Yeah, and also, by the way, this is another gift that I feel that it is to me, is that sometimes when I'm standing around in Hollywood, I'm not the toughest person in the world, right? But I've seen a lot and experienced a lot of kinds of people. A lot of people haven't.
Yes.
Because of the scene.
100%. You have tougher skin.
And I really find that there are times where I realize, wow, this is a real gift now to my directing. Like even the way that it made me able to do Monster, I was like, I don't have friends that killed 7 people, but I have friends that killed 2, you know?
Yeah.
And so...
Lived through it. You've been through it.
Yeah. So it's like to really intimately be like, wow, I know these beautiful spirits and how they go wrong and how they become up real dangerous people in the outside world's eyes. And that's not great to know for them, but it's been a gift to my storytelling to be like, to have such intimate knowledge of so many different kinds of people.
I love it.
From the hardcore scene.
I love that. Well, thank you for being here. This is awesome.
Great. So fun to reminisce.
I know. This is so cool. And just hearing your story, hearing your name throughout my life, and then obviously putting the face to it because we ran into each other. And I definitely seen you back in the day, all that shit, dojos.
Yeah.
And it's just so wild. Here we are in California. We're fucking parents and we're in our 50s and we're still doing shit we love, you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
So great.
Well, thank you.
So happy to reconnect with you and get to do this and talk about it. Really fun.
I know. I'm going to have you come to a show when we play in December.
Please.
Or a show before that, yeah.
Please.
But people can't find you on social media really, right?
No, I mean, I'm on Twitter, but I never go on there. But I'm not on anything else.
No Instagram, nothing?
Nothing.
Amazing.
Never have been. Never have been.
No Facebook, none of that shit?
Never been on once in my life.
I love you for that, dude. That's so
You know
sick.
why I was an early adapter? I was on Friendster and all those things.
Old
and
school.
I was like, everything to gain, nothing, everything to lose, nothing to gain here.
I fucking like that.
And so I've never gone on.
Damn.
Yeah.
I wish I could be off that shit. I have to put my fucking podcast and all my shit on there. It's a necessary
This
evil.
is great. Podcasts
I know.
are so cool. And, you know, a lot is done with them.
Yeah, people learned a lot about you today.
Yeah.
You can look her up. You can Google her. You can check out her, all of her movies, everything she's done. What's it, IMDb? What is that shit? Yeah.
IMDb.
What does that stand for?
Internet Movie Database.
Oh.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day. Okay, thank you. Thanks for being here.
So great to be here, Toby.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Got to give a big shout out to Liquid Death. I've been in a band called H2O for 30 years. And my first real job with a company is a water brand. Go figure. Love You Liquid Death. Love the people. Love the brand. Love the concept. Love what they give back. Love the community. Love what they do for the environment. You can go liquiddeath.com/OLLC and get free shipping on any of their merchandise that they make. They have such incredible collabs. Also, if you want to hear the story of the CEO, my good friend Mike Cesario, on the podcast, you can go to episode 115, part 1. And then 2 years later, we dropped a part 2, which is episode 275 with the CEO, Mike Cesario. Just a man from Delaware with a dream, worked at a marketing company, and made this become a reality. Liquid Death is an incredible company, incredible water, incredible people. And I'm super, super honored to be part of them. They sponsor my life. They sponsor everything, my family. So go liquiddeath.com/OLLC and get free shipping on anything you want to buy on that site. If you want to get water, it's exclusively on Amazon.com. Murder your thirst, y'all. I always ask my guests if they have any regrets. I personally don't have any regrets. Even when it comes to my tattoos, I have the silliest tattoos. Even my ET on my leg, it's still a childhood memory for me, and I love it. I've had tattoos on top of tattoos strictly because I wanted more tattoos. I started getting tattoos when I was 18. I'm 52 now, and I can't stop. I've had laser treatment before on something on my arm. It's 4 tattoos on top of each other, and that experience at that place was pretty fast. It was pretty cold. It was in and out, swipe the credit card. Don't really tell me much. Didn't give me much details of anything was going to happen. So I never went back. So as of most recently, I'm so lucky enough to have had 2 sessions at Removery Tattoo Removal. My tattoo on my arm that looks like a big black blob is now super light. I've had 2 sessions. I have a long road ahead of me. None of this stuff happens overnight. You cannot take a tattoo up in one sitting. You have to be patient. And it's painful. They ice you up. It's super fast. To me, it felt like a bunch of rubber bands. But what's more painful than that is looking at something on your body that you think you're stuck with for the rest of your life. That sucks. But now for me, I'm really happy I started this journey. I'm slowly going to get this tattoo removed. I never thought in a million years I have any kind of real estate on my arm. I don't even know what I want, but it's exciting. I'm so honored to announce that One Life, One Chance podcast is now with Removery. Call 866-934-4570 or go to removery.com. Use Toby H2O and get $100 off your first session. One of the most experienced tattoo removal companies in the world. Removery has 155 locations and 1.8 million treatments. US, Canada, and Australia. State-of-the-art peak-away laser technology, cryo technology to reduce any discomfort. This is so exciting for me because all I do in these podcasts is talk about tattoos. From day one, if you've been listening to this podcast, talk about tattoos, talk about getting removed, talk about getting covered up. So this is such a perfect fit for me. Definitely check out One Life, One Chance podcast, episode 281. I have Carmen Brody, Mike McTurnan, and Dustin Ortle from Removery. And this is over a 2-hour conversation. People had submitted questions. It's an incredible conversation breaking down the do's, the don'ts, the fears, process, the results, everything you could imagine about getting a tattoo removed. It's all in this podcast. It's an incredible episode. I appreciate them all coming out for it. So check that out if you want to learn more about Removery and what it's like to get a tattoo removed. Once again, go to removery.com or call 866-934-4570. Use my code TobyH2O and get $100 off. These guys are located everywhere. Try it out. I have a lot of friends who are sober, a lot of friends who are straight edge, a lot of my friends who are going through it. I know struggling with substance abuse and alcoholism can be really, really hard, especially knowing who to turn to. It can be really, really daunting. I'm here to say that a good friend of mine and his friend started this incredible treatment center called Refine Recovery. He gave me a phone number, 855-516-3332. You can text, you can call them. It's totally confidential. It's safe. There'll be somebody on the other line to help you out, a compassionate human being to talk to. They help you navigate the process, the insurance treatments. They accept most of private insurances. You can go refinerecovery.com, Refine Recovery Instagram. I know it's hard, but reach out to somebody, man. People care about you. People love you. People want you to be here for a long time. People love you in their lives. If you're going through it, make this phone call. It's totally private. I know people DM me all the time about going through it and going through sobriety and trying to get straight and trying to take care of themselves, and the struggle is totally real. And Refine Recovery is the definitely move. Reach out to them, 855-516-3332, or text them, 855 855-516-3332. You can call or text this number anytime, 855-516-3332. You know the drill. This number is here for you to call.